And we are live. Welcome to Kitchen Party, where this time we will be making, or Jared will be making, squid ink pasta. Actually, cuttlefish-ink pasta, which is black. And we'll talk about why, and we'll find out how that happens. All in due time. So let's meet our guests this week. Okay, and let me start unmuting people. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay. Let's see. Why don't we do a quick go around first, and everyone introduce themselves quickly, and then Jared, we can look at you and what you're doing, and you can get started with the time's recipe. Mikey, why don't you go first?
Hi, I am Mikey, Michael, Mike. You can call me what you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. Well, that was awful. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what to say here. I am.
Thanks for setting the bar there, Mike.
Yeah, I'm giving you all a gift. You know, I'm starting low, so you guys have a room to grow. There's a ceiling.
Yeah,
you know, that you can escalate up towards. Yeah, I'm a podcast host on the Megaphonic Network, and I pop up on various streams here from time to time, and I lift weights professionally. Cool. And I am very gay. Very gay.
Your reaction is hilarious. Love it.
Austin, who are you?
Hi, I'm Austin Wong. I am. Are we supposed to talk about what we do? I don't really know how much information.
Sorry, this is just like a quick hello. Who are you? Quickly. I don't know. Whatever you want to tell us about yourself.
Okay. Hi.
Like you said the phone properly.
Yeah, I'm Austin. I'm an entertainment lawyer and a writer and a one-time director and a film producer. So I'm sort of in the entertainment space and happy to be here. I like food. I like to watch about people eating and preparing food. I've watched one of these before when Jared made some kind of dessert and he had a very pleased reaction when he was eating it afterwards. I can't remember the dessert.
The opera cake.
Might have been the opera cake.
Yeah, that's the one. I immediately wanted an opera cake. But
Wesley.
Hi, I'm Wesley Reibling. Yeah, I don't know about me. Okay, I am here in Toronto. I work in LGBT rights. I am like art adjacent. I like make art on the side and things that maybe I'll get into later. But yeah, lover of music, lover of podcasts, lover of food. And yeah, this like brings me back to my early pandemic days of like watching nonstop Bon Appetit for like 6 hours straight. So I'm like really excited to be like on the other side of it and like being able to be on screen watching Jared cook today. So yeah, thank you for having me here.
You are welcome. Jared, since you're just next counterclockwise or clockwise, why don't you say hi? And you are not in Toronto. Where are you?
I am not in Toronto. I am in Seattle, where it is currently very hot and will only get hotter. So I'm very sorry that I would just keep sipping noisily on my iced coffee just in order to survive. Yeah, podcaster on Megaphonic, artist, etc. And amateur cook.
Your chef.
Co-host of a cooking show.
Yeah.
Chef just sounded so pretentious. I couldn't bring myself to it.
Own it. You're a chef. Say it. Own it. Use it.
Chef.
I'm a chef.
Rebecca, who are you?
I am Rebecca. I'm here in Toronto, and everybody else has a nice homey background. I look like I'm doing my passport photo. There's a mistake there. I should turn to my bookshelf, but maybe not yet. And yeah, I'm a social worker. I'm starting to be a writer, and I think this is my second time as a guest, but I've seen a few of them. I've seen Jared cook many things, lasagna, and I copied your vanilla in the lasagna idea. So yeah,
vanilla in the lasagna. What?
That sounds wild.
Secret
Just
ingredient.
a little bit.
It's a whole thing.
Tiny bit. Yeah.
In the noodles and the sauce and what?
In the sauce.
Okay.
Intriguing.
It gives it a gamey flavor. It gives it
gamey.
Because like vanilla by itself isn't sweet. So
Isn't it? Isn't it?
It's pretty sweet.
think
I mean,
it's
some
pretty
extracts actually do have sugar in them, but the ones you want to get don't have the sugar.
yeah.
The ones
So
that I
it
drink
actually
are
isn't
always
sweet.
very sweet.
Wait, do you just drink vanilla extract?
I'm just kidding.
Wow, this took a turn.
No kink shaming. No kink shaming.
I mean, when you're a
Oh
kid,
my
you're
God.
like, oh, this has alcohol in it. Oh, I'm going to be sinful. And you try something, and you're like, this sucks. Maybe that was just
Don't
me.
drink.
I don't-
What a bad boy.
Okay,
Yes,
Jared, I am
that's
going
who
to-
I am.
there we go. You have been magnified. So tell us what dish you are preparing for us today.
I
and
am going to make
what you
a
got.
squid ink pasta because it's black and looks a little bit like leather. And we're all about kink at Pride here, apparently, today. And to make it even more inclusive, I am going to toss it later with sausage and clams.
I like it.
Very inclusive.
Wah, wah, wah.
Indeed.
Get
So
everybody involved.
can you show us the ingredients? What have you got
I
set up
can
there
as soon
so
as
far?
I'm slurping. So I'm going to start with the pasta because it has to rest for a little while to
Cool, cool.
absorb the moisture
Do
and
its
whatever.
thing. Yeah. Mhm.
Makes it easier to roll out and everything. So it's just eggs. I will tilt the camera down in a minute, but eggs, this special flour
yes.
that's
You got the
grano
00
tenero.
flour.
If you trust Sami Nosrat, which you should, she's a goddess, this is what you use for pasta making. And some semolina, and whoop, that will spill and make a mess. And the ink.
The
Nice.
secret
And-
ingredient, yes.
Let's see the ink. Let's see the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
Have you
Poseidon
opened
on
it
the
yet?
cover. Very appropriate.
I haven't opened
Yeah.
it yet because I didn't want to refrigerate it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh.
Oh, did you
this
just spill
is-
it all over your shirt? You have to take off your shirt. Sorry. Oops.
This is super unappealing to look at.
Okay.
It's
But it looks
sort
like
of-
ink.
well,
yeah.
it's very
Oh,
jelly-like.
gelatinous.
Jellied ink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
I am not into it. I hate gelatinous things. This is quickly becoming a nightmare for me.
Once
Oh,
it's
is it?
heated, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get all
Um,
runny when it's warm.
It'll just
It is
help-
warm.
That actually fair point.
Yeah. It's too warm.
When it gets boiling.
Is it salty?
Does it have a flavor?
it
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of. I'm not going to taste it.
Can you
Right
put
on
your
the
finger
thing.
in it
Yeah,
and
put
taste
your
it?
finger in it.
Put your finger in it and then
Do
put
it,
it in your
do
mouth. Just dip your finger in.
Be brave.
Just wants to know how many squids they have to milk to get. And how do you milk a squid? How do you get it?
Wait. We want to know.
Yeah.
It does. It smells very fishy.
Yes,
It's fishy.
good.
I mean, that's what I
Warm
like about
fishy
squid ink pasta is it's a vaguely fishy taste.
Hmm.
Is it salty?
Oh no.
It is.
Jared,
It's,
kind
don't
of like-
blow up.
Umami or
yeah, it actually. So it kind of tastes a little bit like seaweed.
Hmm.
Like it's got that
Okay.
sort of umami, salty,
I like seaweed.
whatever.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've had, if you've had the ink pasta before, it is kind of briny tasting. It is a little bit like seaweed. So this should be fine. I'm just not going to enjoy the process of actually scooping this out.
Mhm, mhm. So, how do we begin?
Yeah, I didn't.
Are you
realize
actually
would be
making pasta, or are
Yeah, I
you
didn't
am
realize you
making-
were making
I
the
am making
pasta from
pasta.
scratch.
Yeah.
That's
Oh wow.
so much more
Yeah.
impressive.
And making a
Just
mess in the
Step
process.
one: go to the
Step one.
supermarket, buy a packet of squid ink pasta.
That's the
It's not-
easy way out.
Not as
Um,
oh hi Imbil.
It's, you
Imbil,
Oh,
you're
sorry.
here. Hi.
This is why Chris yells at me, Nadia, when we get
That's okay.
dueling on the comments.
No worries.
you put the flour in. I'm going to make a well in the center and put the eggs in. I normally do this in advance, but for some reason
No,
I
it's
didn't
just-
do it today. My
Hey,
brain is a
you-
little bit cooked.
You're Julia
Yeah.
Childing for us as well.
I am-
Like,
yeah.
Well,
It
we
is
need to see this.
very sad to me that I can't do a decent Julia Child impression, because otherwise it would be over for you hosts. So
Oh, now I want to see a Julia Child-inspired drag act. It must exist.
It
Someone
must.
must have done that.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my
you know
100%.
what? I will put together a Julia Child impression and do a Julia Child drag act.
So
or do
what-
like
what
a
is
Meryl
this-
Streep doing Julia Child drag at that.
What you need to get a drag king to do a Bob Ross and do like a duo thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. So it's the flower and the semolina are two different things.
Excuse me. The semolina is a flour. It's just a different
type of flour.
It has it's durum wheat rather than like ordinary wheat, and it's got a lot more gluten in it than ordinary flour. So
is one stickier than the other?
No, they're very I mean like
soft. One's wetted.
Oh,
or is there like
duh. I don't know. No, not really.
David-Demchuk says the one time he had squidding pasta, he had a reaction to it. So,
yeah, no. If you have a shellfish allergy, don't
stay away.
Don't do it.
We never went over how you. Oh, sorry. I was going to say we never went over how you milk a squid, or like how does one get the ink?
How does one procure the ink?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Kids, leave the room. I'm sorry. I'm afraid the squid has to die.
Oh no.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a sex thing. Kids can stay for it.
No,
for learning about death.
Tell the squids. Tell the kids that the squids went to a farm and
first thing, you buy the squid a drink.
I had a dog though, and it actually did go to a farm. It did go to a real farm.
Is your child in the room, Austin?
That's what your parents told
you. They did tell me that. I believe it. No, she is not. She's in the house.
Okay.
Oh my god.
She doesn't know about that metaphor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No. We have a dog and 2 cats, and they're going to live forever. So it's fun.
Jared, are there liquids in this other than the egg and the squid ink, or is it just that?
No.
And you're going to like
it's just
mash it all together? Okay.
How are you going to shape this pasta? Do you have a pasta maker?
Yeah.
I don't. So I'm going to do it in a way I hope will be very inspirational to the masses, and just use a rolling pin and a knife.
Wow.
Wow.
This is. Oh God. Oh, I hate looking at.
Jared, you're so brave. You're our hero.
I cannot express how much I hate even seeing gelatinous things.
I wish we could see your face.
Yes, I know. I do want to see his reaction.
We want to see the disgust. We want to see the face.
It's too late now.
Can you see that?
Although I feel like he kind of retched when he smelled it, so maybe we don't want to see the whole face.
Yeah.
Maybe we need more, though. I think it needs to be darker. I think it needs to be blacker. I was
going to say, did you just put like a teaspoon in it? Because
it was a whole tablespoon.
No, put the whole thing. More.
No.
Yeah, what are you going to do with the rest of the squid ink?
It's probably, to be honest, it's probably going to sit in my fridge until it goes bad, but we'll see.
You should try drawing with it.
Why don't you try to draw with it, or make a tattoo on your arm?
Yes, I'm sure it's sterile.
Inject that squid ink.
There's some excellent medical advice going on here. This is
And do it on camera.
Yeah.
Try it. How bad could it be?
You could do like a performance art thing where like you're painting with a gelatinous medium that actively disgusts you. And be like,
that would actually.
I would really enjoy that. That was hilarious.
Okay, I'm just gonna be doing this for a while. So if you want to switch to somebody else talking, you can.
We can go back to the.
Did somebody say they had an allergy earlier when I was asking about how does one milk the squid?
David in the comments had a reaction to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My reaction was, "This is delicious."
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So while Jared mixes that, and then I guess we'll probably be kneading it at some point. We can kind of watch him in the corner there, and we can start asking. I can start asking people. I might just like check this out and see. I was gonna like go around, but I feel like we're self-organizing. We don't need to be like fully orderly. We can just kind of like see what happens. Does anyone
have the conch shell?
I have the
Mikey, if you want the conch shell, it is yours.
No.
Or the cuttlefish shell. So who wants to start with a good story about pride, or who wants to talk about like what pride means to you?
It's so formal. That's so not a normal conversation.
Well, It's television. No, it isn't.
Yes,
it's,
yes.
It's Twitch.
It's like television.
When's first Pride? What?
Okay, I'll say something sort of touching. So, so Pride to me, like, I grew up being very, very closeted because I was raised with fundamentalist Christian parents. I was raised in a fundamentalist church. I didn't know anybody that was gay. I was raised in Peterborough, which is quite a small town. So I actually fit in very well. I had a good time, but the whole gay thing was very, very pushed down. So it wasn't until I came to Toronto and I made some gay friends and everything that I became more comfortable. It took me a very long time to come out, like very long time. And so when I finally got to go to a Pride, it was quite a revelation to me because I was like I was in law school, so I was like a student adult kind of thing. And when we went there, and it was just like crowds of people and all these men holding hands and everybody being very open, it did feel amazing because it's something that I'd never seen growing up. And it was something that I couldn't believe could happen so easily. And now I feel almost that it's going away because the way the world is going, like there's so much a rise in anti-gay stuff. So now I feel, whereas Pride, when I finally kind of met it, it was more like a celebration. Like we were past the whole, it's a protest. And I feel now it seems like it has to become more of a protest again. Like I feel the whole, it's just a party thing is not enough. And I feel like it's starting to change, particularly with the Black Lives Matter protest, and that was a huge turning point for me as well, because I remember being at the parade when Black Lives Matter shut it down for I think just 20 minutes. And
explain for the non-Torontonians what happened, like in a nutshell.
Oh, sorry. So Pride, I think, as everyone knows, is like a big annual celebration in many cities, and Toronto has a very big one. It's a very active, well-attended. Yeah, it's a big moneymaker for the city, and all the corporations now join in. It's not fringe at all. Like basically every bank has a float. It's corporations everywhere, and that in itself is controversial with some of the community. To me, I say I want it. I want to see that support. I love the allyship. I can't get enough of anybody being supportive. But anyway, so every year there's a big Pride parade, and typically one of the elements of the Pride parade is the Toronto police do march down through the parade, and it's a big love-in. Everybody loves everything. So like the police walk down, everybody's cheering, they're squirting us with squirt guns. It's just like they are having a blast. Everyone's having a blast. This one year, the Black Lives Matter group chapter in Toronto, they were in the parade and they stopped walking, and they basically stopped the parade. They just sat down. They didn't allow anybody to pass. It was just, they were there, and they started making sort of demands, and they were protesting, and it held up the parade. I can't remember if it was 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It wasn't very long in the end, but what they wanted was, but what they wanted was, they had a list of demands, and one of them was they didn't want the Toronto police to be involved in Pride until there were changes made, and very concrete things that they wanted. And at the time, the head of Pride actually met with them and just agreed to everything so that they would move, and they moved on. And of course, that didn't happen, but the reaction was really, really eye-opening. Basically, everybody was angry at BLM. It seemed like everybody I knew was very angry, like, who the hell are they? It's not their parade. Why would they do this? Everybody's waiting. It's so disrespectful. It's so inconsiderate. It's so like, and they were actually against BLM. And actually, crazily now, when you think about it, they're all fighting for the police. And I have to say, and I don't want to say this to sound, it was like basically almost every white male gay person I knew, or even like, they were very angry with BLM. And I had many difficult conversations. I'm not trying to generalize. It's just what happened with me and my friends and my personal experience. And it took me, I'm not going to say I'm perfect in the situation. Like, I was actually standing in the parade and I was annoyed because it was held up. I didn't know what was going on. When I read about it, though, I mean, it worked for me, because when I read about what the protest was, and when I read about why they were doing this. I understood. And it helps that I'm a person of color. I'm probably more aware of that kind of issue and being aware of being singled out and the fear of being singled out. And I have one of my cousins is anyway, I have Black people in my family. I'm probably more aware maybe than some other people. So I was sympathetic, and it's certainly now everybody knows that Black Lives Matter is a very important cause, and the police are a huge problem.
Huge,
the huge problem, and the fact that they didn't want their oppressors to join in their celebration without any acknowledgments of the things they've done. And I have Black friends that actually told me stories personally about how they were on Church Street or on Wellesley Street, stopped by the police, held at gunpoint while they were asked to show ID in Toronto. It was actually not something that just happens in the States. And, when you know that, you understand, Pride is supposed to be an inclusive celebration, but also protests to sort of protect our rights and our right to feel safe. And if the police are the ones perpetrating it, by far, they should have to go through some kind of process, reckoning, before they're allowed to just celebrate. And that was what they were doing, and that was not getting through. And I remember so many people are saying, Pride is inclusive, saying Blue Lives Matter, and police should be able to come because my Pride is inclusive. And I know people that said they were going to boycott Pride because the police couldn't come.
Wow.
Which seems crazy to me, right? Being a race, you can't do anything about it. The police are not an oppressed group. It's a profession. It's a chosen profession that pays very well, and they oppress other people. They oppress.
That's their job.
Yeah, and it's just mind-boggling now to think about it. But at the time, that was not clear at all, and it was there were a lot of fights about that whole thing, and it wasn't until the George Floyd thing came out that I saw a lot of friends that had formerly been very pro-police to make them join Pride, or they're not going to Pride. They came around. So sometimes it takes something horrible. Anyway, that was very long, but Pride means a lot of things to me, right? It basically, it was a celebration. It was a comforting thing, but then it also became a bit of a flashpoint where you could see the cracks, right? That not all gay people are on the same page. Not all gay people have the same values. And I do think the last thing I'll say,
spaces.
That's right. That's right. And the other thing I'll say is, this is a thing I've said before, but I think in the 70s or whatever, there used to be country clubs and places that wouldn't let in anybody but white people. You couldn't go in if you were a Jewish person or an Asian person or a Black person, and they were called restricted clubs. And I remember watching 80s sitcoms, and sometimes Blair Warner would be dating this really hot white rich guy, and then they'd say that they're going to this club, and then Joe or someone would say, that's a restricted club, and then the moral would be she can't go to the club because it's a restricted club. And that seemed to be a moral thing that people recognized even back then, that it wasn't good to do that, right? I feel like with the police and Black Lives Matter and everything, I think once the police and society in general started accepting gays in general, just on a high level, that they're willing to support gays, then all the white gays were fine, and they were like, we've just been accepted to the restricted club, but they're leaving behind everybody else, right? They're leaving behind all the Black people, the Asian people, the trans people, everybody else that's not a white cis looking person is now accepted by the police and by corporations, and that's enough for them, and they're fine to go join the party and let the police into the party. And to me, it's a restricted club that they are now weeding out other people that are actually in their community, and it makes me very angry. So that is okay. That's all I'll say.
Am I remembering right? Black Lives Matter were the Grand Marshals of the parade that year, weren't they? And it was. I think so. Yeah. I think so. And to my mind, it was kind of like, well, yes, this is a very appropriate use of this platform that you're given. It's otherwise it's a meaningless kind of gesture, I can remember. I think my first Pride I went to, I was pretty old. I never used to go, and it's a weird long story, but I remember Pussy Riot were the Grand Marshals, and it was great. I enjoyed seeing them, but it was kind of an empty sort of gesture. No political impact occurred because of that. So anyways.
But I think that's what Pride has become, right? More of an empty gesture, because people just expect a party and have fun.
But there needs to be more. And right around that time too is when all people started going missing around Church Street as well, Arthur, and it was all folks of color that were the victims too. So And that was like, if you've heard, there's a really great CBC podcast.
There we go.
Sorry, this is David
Yeah,
Demchuk,
exactly.
who,
And it was a really great peaceful protest.
incidentally, sorry, just to break in, Wes, for 1 second.
Breaking
this
news.
is David Demchuk, who has just written a book called Red X, which is a novel based on what you were just talking about, which is the serial killer who was loose in the village for. It's a horror novel about that.
With
about
Right.
illustrations by me.
What?
With
Jared, I
illustrations by
didn't know
Jared, yes.
Okay, well, I've been meaning to go to my local bookstore to pick it up now that I can go in stores again. Now I have 2 reasons.
I'm not sure it's out yet, or is it? I don't know, David.
I
I
think
think there's advanced copies though.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
All I know is that I'm supposed to go get it.
I think it's like out next month, but yeah.
Okay, well, now I'm extra getting it. Anyways.
David says August 31st.
Oh,
August 31st.
Look for it in your book.
I remember. I think we discussed this at some point. I messaged you.
Mm-hmm. But Wesley, I cut you off just because I wanted to like make
No,
that
it's good.
point. But please go on.
No, I was just going to say that was right around the same time folks were going missing. And just, folks are hurt, ignored. And I think that there was, for a lot of years, especially for white cis gay males, Pride and even Church Street was a place to party, but Pride was not political. And I think that that's something that we have lost over the years, because exactly what you said, I have rights. Why should I care about anyone else? And that's kind of like a mindset I think that a lot of folks kind of forgot about their brothers, sisters, and folks in the community, and the gender diverse folks who had fallen behind and who don't have the same rights and who don't get the same health care and who don't get the same care even from getting stopped or frisked on just walking home. So I think in some ways, not that I ever want to be yay, pandemic, but sometimes I think it does take time for us to sit in those kind of moments and go wow, things are really, I'm not going to swear, but messed up. And now it's our time to actually, okay,
An 18
good.
plus screen.
Good to know.
I swear all the time.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it takes some time, I think, for the greater community. And same kind of thing, Austin, I would agree. I had a teacher, I remember getting into not a heated, but a DM conversation on Facebook who was a mentor to me, a queer mentor growing up, who I got into conversation with, just being no, this is why they stopped the parade. And this is why, see it from this angle. And there was just there was a filter over it, just horse blinders on, of why it happened and why it was so integral and important. And I think I'm happy that it happened. We were leaving. I was going to say skipped. I missed that Pride. Me and my partner were on a trip to the US, and we were actually just bringing our car back. We were on top of the Eaton Center, parking our car, and we heard all these drums, and we poked our heads off the side of the Eaton Center and saw that the parade had been stopped. So honestly, it was kind of we had a bird's eye view of what was happening, not exactly sure what was happening, but listening in. And so in a sense, I was kind of amazed that by accident, just by timing completely, we were part of history in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thing. But your question was about prides in general and which prides have been
well, and also,
important.
Wes, I mean, since we're on this, you're my plugged into what's actually going on, friend. So is there what is happening in? I mean, Pride has been canceled again this year in Toronto. What's happening in activist communities right now? Is there anything that you're involved with that you know about that you would want to highlight?
There's some. With Zoom fatigue, I think there's a lot less events, but Yo Homo here in Toronto, there's some really great folks through Glad Day Bookstore, I think it's the world's oldest queer bookstore. They have some online events. I think Boylesque just did a great event last night. I know that the Lavender, which is femme, women inclusive. Correct me, I'm sorry if anyone in the comments, if I've got this wrong, but the Lavender events, they just put out a zine about painting. It was, I think, called Painting Church Street Lavender. And there was a small trans march down Church Street yesterday, but nothing official. So it's all kind of these small little things, and even a lot of the spaces that we once knew, especially in the West End, the Beaver, places around Kensington, all of those spaces closed down during the pandemic. So
yeah.
It's there's I personally, if it was a beautiful sunny day that was maybe supposed to happen, but maybe never was supposed to happen. I was supposed to go on a boat ride with some coworkers who I haven't seen in a year and a half this morning, just around the harbor. And that was going to be my little Pride celebration, but this is, and making squid-ink pasta is as well. So I was really excited because it was this like Pride-packed day for me, which it still is. But no, so I'd say there's lots of small events, some digital, some nothing quite in person, and I don't think we'll get back to there till maybe next summer. I'm
getting text that there's a dyke march happening.
That's
really?
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I feel terrible.
No, but I don't think it was. I think people just gathered.
It's
like an impromptu.
Yeah.
Flash dyke march. Flash mob.
Excellent.
I think it's hard to like advertise, like, as we're not supposed to meet completely in big large groups. I think probably it's harder to like advertise those kind of things. But I think also what's kind of amazing is what I have seen and what like as Pride can continue and queer spaces had to adapt, like community had to continue to exist, but in different ways. So in some ways there was that really great, I think it was called, not quarantine party, but there was a dance party of folks, and it started here in Toronto, but became like a worldwide thing where there, Thursday nights on Zoom, people would come on and dance, and you could be highlighted to like, and you could dress up in costume and put fun lights around your room. So there was interesting ways I think the community has continued to exist. I myself and some friends started like an art scene because we saw people struggling, saw the social isolation at the very start of the pandemic, and wanted a space to kind of make art through those feelings. And it's turned into this like queer feminist art space with folks around the world too, who've been able to submit and kind of speak about, even censorship online. But so Pride has continued to exist in the corners and alleyways of the internet and in person. But I'm excited to see what the future will be, because the Pride we knew and the Church Street we knew, or the streets in Seattle that we once knew, are not the streets we're going back to, nor should they be, and nor should the spaces, the like those bars that 90% of the people were white in. We need to make sure that those spaces are more inclusive too. So I hope that we all can do our part, and that includes more than just everyone on this call, but we all can do our part to ensure that those spaces and those streets stay more inclusive into the future.
If the fucking like anti-vaxxers can have a police escort for their march every weekend,
That's
we can and should
outrageous.
have a dyke march.
God,
We can and should have a dyke march.
Absolutely. It's actually ridiculous that that's what happens. But what you were saying, Wesley, about how we shouldn't go back to the way things were before, I think that 100% about almost everything. Like, I feel like in general, like even like workspaces, like it's probably never going to go back exactly the way it was before, now that people like working from home and stuff. Like, there's a cat. But I do think that the fact that we've had this sort of time off, the pandemic sort of coincided with this whole racial reckoning, with the whole Black Lives Matter really rising up. We haven't seen how all of this will translate to when we actually go back to normal life, right? Like, we've all kind of been sitting with it at home because it was happening during a pandemic. I mean, there of course were protests and all that kind of thing, but I just feel like, and also this year with the rise in anti-Asian racism as well, like that's something that is finally getting attention. It's something that's obviously very worrying to me. Like, I think that now that I'm hopeful that people have spent the year maybe absorbing more than they have before, and being in their own spaces and having time to reflect. When we go back, I am hoping that we will see some change, but I don't know, maybe that's too much to ask. But
I think it's also important that when Black Lives Matter did close down the march for a period, they were queer Black people, right?
Yep.
They weren't random Black.
It wasn't like not their space. It was
exactly. It was their space, and it was their right to do that.
Yep.
And
in a peaceful way.
100%. And I think that it was, sometimes it was portrayed in the media at the time, or sometimes in conversations that I heard, among white queer people, that, what were they doing? And I was like, they're queer. They're saying what they had to say at that moment, and Pride has always been a protest, and this is how the protest is evolving right now. And sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Where's Jared?
Jared's internet just died. I just got a message from him, so he's trying to get back on.
I saw he froze at some point, and now he is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he was frozen or just sort of very still.
It's the ghost of the squids.
He was overwhelmed by the aroma. And he just stopped.
Oh my god.
Broke the internet.
I'm curious, like, when he gets back, it's going to be completely done because he will have ordered it in. It's all a ruse.
He turned off his camera to order Uber Eats.
I don't think Charles would order like wax squidding.
Like that old Simpsons scene where he gets Krusty Burgers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm actually going to take this opportunity to run to the washroom real fast, so I'll be back in 30 to 45 seconds.
Let me. How do I? Wait a minute. How do I remove Mikey?
But it's too bad. I do feel a loss in terms of not being able to get together with people for Pride like last year and this year. Like I don't find it the same at all, and I don't enjoy Zoom events really at all. I feel like with my job, like I'm doing Zoom events multiple times a day, every day, and I really don't want to do it for socialization. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
last year I went to the virtual Pride parade, and it was like I wanted to be supportive, right? And there were some really amazing performances, and there were some excellent DJs and stuff like that. But it felt like exhausting to be there. And then eventually I just sort of turned my camera off and had it in the background and did my stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This year, my friend, I'm fully vaccinated. And in fact, I had COVID already, so I'm immune. And so my friend and I were planning to go and sort of walk up and down Church Street yesterday and see what was going on. And then it poured rain.
All day.
Poured rain. So right now I'm getting messages, the Dyke March is happening, come meet us. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see.
Yeah, it's sort of off and on. I feel like that, like, it is encouraging that there's like I can't remember what the percentage is, but I think it's over 70% are one vaccination, and it's maybe, is it 25 or almost 30% are double vaccinated?
I think it's like,
very high.
Yeah.
So I'm also double vaccinated, and it's been a couple weeks since my last one, so I'm quite safe. So so it's been nice, like, since they opened up step one, I have been seeing people, like, people have been coming around to the backyard. We've been a couple patios, and so for Pride, like, we've been doing, I had a couple friends drop by very briefly yesterday afternoon and had a very short visit, and then last night we were plans for another couple friends to come over to our backyard, but then it rained, and then today I have plans with another gay friend. So I'm doing a kind of a sort of a mini broken out kind of.
Yeah.
One by one.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it right now.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that a big Dyke Christmas picnic is happening tomorrow.
A very dykey Christmas to you.
Very
dykey Christmas.
And so I have my picnic ingredients happening over there, and
nice.
I'm hopeful. But I'm also going to put tinfoil for the rain.
Yeah. No, tomorrow's supposed to be nice here in Toronto. We're supposed to
get,
like, nice going outside weather. Yeah.
Trust nothing.
Trust nothing. Yeah.
You've ruined it now, Nadia. You've said it out loud. It's over.
Oh my God. Mikey, what about, did you go to Pride back in Newfoundland when you
Nope.
were there?
I sure as hell didn't, and I didn't for the first oh gee, how many? 6 years I lived in Toronto either. So there is a Pride in St. John's. I grew up in a town of about 3,500 people, so there wasn't a Pride there. But they do paint their crosswalks rainbows now, which I think is fantastic in June.
That's nice.
It is great. And my father sent me a picture of the Pride flag flying over the house I grew up in a couple of weeks ago, which absolutely filled my heart. So it's rural Newfoundland was not as homophobic as you might think, but it was homophobic to a certain degree. But it's nice to see it changing. But no, they had a Pride in St. John's, but the gay community in St. John's is quite small. And my first boyfriend and I, when we broke up when I was 19 years old. It was real bad, and I didn't feel like being around the other gay people my age because there was, a dozen of them, and they all took his side. So I was. It was bad. Anyways, so that was why. Oh, Jared's back.
Yeah, trying to add him to. Yeah, here we go.
I removed. You do it, Nadia. Too many cooks.
There he is.
There we go.
Yay!
Yeah, welcome back. We missed you.
Yeah, and
missed you
just
also.
briefly finish. When I moved to Toronto, I just wasn't in the habit, and I was very busy with grad school, and I was surprised how few queer people were in grad school. And puppy dog. And so it was really only when I was sort of got into my 30s and got away from like doing a PhD that I was like, I'm a 30-year-old gay man who lives in Toronto. I should go to Pride.
You need to see the puppy.
Yeah.
Show us the puppy.
This is Grace Kelly.
Oh.
Very, very cuddly, very affectionate.
Oh my goodness! And she's had a haircut, and she looks like.
Isn't she the cutest
right
thing?
now.
I think
She's
she's
very
the
cute.
cutest thing. Anyway.
Oh, look at the baby. Okay.
Sorry, I
Jared,
disappeared there. I had to go get a fan. It's
It's good.
hotter than hell
You
in
now
my
have
apartment.
like a
I've got
Stevie
the
Nicks thing
Beyonce.
happening with your hair now.
Very
Ready?
cool.
Do you want
We
some
all
milk?
should have wind machines.
Yes. Oh my God, Jared, how is the? We are glad you're back. How is the pasta
Yes.
coming? Oh
Uh-oh.
no!
Oh no!
Oh no.
It's the squid ink.
Oh no.
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, there he is. He's
You're back.
ripping.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay. Hang
Okay.
on. Let's have a Maddie moment. Hello,
Hi.
Maddie.
Wait, she can't hear you, humans.
I can hear you all. I don't know if I'm.
Hi,
Maddie.
Hello.
You are. What do you want to say to the people?
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, Maddie.
Double.
Okay, go run. Can you go? Okay, thanks, baby. Grace Kelly wanted to come in, and then she wanted to come in.
Oh, Jared's moving again. Okay.
I'm gonna put Jared. Well, we have him. So how is the progress happening? This is.
He's
This
ripping
is
up
not
sausage
black.
right now.
Oh, he's ripping
Sausage.
it up.
I am.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am sensuously squeezing sausage out of its casing.
I'm watching it all.
Can't
Leave the room.
Yeah.
squeezing the
This really is an
sausage
18
out of
plus
their
screen.
casing.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's one way to say it.
What you got to do? Pasta's
we-
resting in the fridge.
Can you see? Can we see the
So-
pasta? Does it look black, and is it chopped up? And what does it look like?
It's just a blob
It's
now, right?
just sort of what?
It's a
Is it
blob.
what? Is it a
Pasta's-
blob, or have you cut it up yet?
It's a blob now because it's got to rest for a little while. So while
Okay.
that's happening, I'm getting started on the clams and sausage part of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
all
it's-
the kinky part,
The
David.
secret, I was going to say, the secret has all been the kinky part.
Mm.
So the clams are soaking in water, which apparently you're supposed to do. I don't know. I've never cooked clams before. This stream is always an adventure. So in a little
You
bit,
don't
I'm
want a
going
dry
to
clam.
scrub them. What? What was that?
You don't want a dry clam.
No.
No.
Dry ass clam.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta ask
Um,
clams. Okay.
DAC, yeah. Some
In a
back.
little bit, I'm going to start cooking stuff, and then I'm going to roll out the pasta because this does have to
Okay.
cook for kind of a while.
Good.
Chris.
Oh, Chris is here. Do we know? Oh, he's not. We don't have a image.
No.
He's just. Chris is just here to say hi. in
The
background.
ghost
What are-
Chris is lurking.
megaphonic director Chris is with us.
He's with
Hello.
us in spirit.
He's
Jared.
gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you making meatballs out of the sausages, or how are you shaping the meat now that
I'm
you've
not really-
squeezed
I'm
it out of
gonna-
the casing?
I'm not really shaping them. They kind of come
Letting
out in
them-
chunks.
Just kind of
Some-
rough.
Yeah, it's just going to be sort of a crumble, I think.
Okay.
Right, a crumble, sausage crumble.
Yeah.
Sounds good. This
I
one-
don't know what he means, but
Neither
I
do I.
trust him.
So Jared, what about I don't think. Well, unless I'm wrong, perhaps I should ask. I don't think any of us have been to Pride in Seattle. Tell us
I have not.
what it's been like. What your experience.
Hello.
I've only been 2 or 3 times. Probably just 2.
Is it big?
It is big. Yeah.
The pride thing. I was asking about the pride.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a big parade down 4th Avenue.
Okay.
And it finishes up with like a big party at Seattle Center by the Space Needle.
Nice.
Which I don't really hang out for because I'm not really a crowd kind of person. But yeah, it's been great. One year, I think the second year that I went, the parade was shut down by Black Lives Matter activists.
How did they respond?
It was okay. There were some boos for a little bit, I think, until people figured out what was going on. And then everybody was just like calm and let the people take the megaphone and talk. Couldn't understand anything they were saying, but it was nice in a way because, like, you know, nobody really freaked out over it. It wasn't a big deal that I recall. Nobody was.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
and not what I would expect from Americans.
No, but I feel like Seattle is used to protests. Like,
protests. It's used to protests. Seattle hates its own police department, so like deeply, truly hates its own police department. So, yeah, I don't have a ton of like fun experiences at Pride. It was just standing there watching a parade, being able to see some of it, and then looking out from the crowd.
But it's interesting to hear that there's sort of there was more of an activist bent to start out with. Like, maybe because it's a little bit smaller and it's less like here, because it's basically like, it's like, oh, Christmas and summer, you know, it's kind of, it's become
3-hour-long parade.
It's not so mainstreamed that people detached it from its activist roots and its meaning. Whereas in Seattle, it sounds like it's still maybe like not small, but small enough that people understand what it is. It's not just like a party and an excuse for beer tents.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak from a ton of experience because, again, I don't really hang around very long. I'm just done with the crowds after a certain point. But yeah, it does. I remember standing there watching, like, oh, here comes the Wells Fargo float or whatever, and people going, like, come on, let's get back to the Sisters of Perpetual Diligence or whatever.
Yeah, they're too symmetrical, those Tetris magnets. I agree.
Because I don't want to play with them. I just want to leave them there.
No.
Just to irritate people who watch the stream and are too polite to comment on it.
Chris is not too polite.
I know.
We're setting up Chris's OCD now.
Thank you for uncovering my face, Chris. There we go. But that's why we're here. To watch.
To watch him play with his sausage.
Kitchen party after dark.
Oh, he starts playing with the clams.
They are purple clams. It's
purple.
A very colorful dish this time. Yeah.
Incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, I can pull one out and show you.
Nice.
Short shorts.
I don't think I've ever seen
Let me just pull out my clam. See, it's purple.
Oh, wow.
My goodness. Yeah.
It's really nice. I was going to say those non-mainstream prides of like Toronto, etc., really do have a different like feeling though. Like I've been to Montreal a bunch for Pride, but a few years ago with work, I was traveling with a documentary film and exhibit, and I was in Montreal during Pride and Ottawa, and I don't know, just the scale of it, and that, you know, you can almost reach out and see people. There's no big floats. Everyone's just driving their like Big Mac truck with like a few people in the back. But yeah, I remember tearing up. I got more emotional. Not that I get emotional at every Pride, but definitely have in the past. But I remember there was a pea flag float, and then there was moms supporting their sex worker kids. And I don't know why that made me like hit me really hard, but just like this like idea of like families supporting their queer kids and families supporting their kids who, you know, are working a job that the government doesn't deem the same.
A real job.
Real job. It was, and yeah, so there's just like a bunch of normal mom and dads walking down the street with signs, and I couldn't hold it together. And maybe I was slightly hungover. Maybe there was a drink in me,
But that's nice, right? It's nice
Yeah.
when you feel something.
and so
Do we
yeah, I was-
have that? Do we have a section for that in Toronto Pride? I don't think I've seen a mom supporting sex workers in Toronto.
No, I
I've
don't
never
think
seen
I have
anything like
either.
that.
No.
So-
That's
But
Maybe someday.
to sort of piggyback on what Wesley's saying, like, so my first Pride was in 1993, and it was like way smaller, and you could jump in and join the parade. And I don't know when everybody's first Pride in Toronto was, if you've been to Pride in Toronto, but in the mid 90s, you could jump in and join the parade and dance, and then you could get out and watch some of it, and then you could get in again. And it was frankly a lot more fun than standing 8 people deep and watching the Toronto Dominion Bank go by.
But you know, I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like it happens at the very end of the parade. Still, like you can follow them at the end, and then it leads you to the street party on Church Street or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we would just jump in like whenever a float, and again, like what Wesley said, like a flatbed truck. When it went by playing music we liked, we jumped in, danced, and then we got out when the music got bad. No,
you can't.
You can't get on the float.
You can't get past the barrier, and that's been true for years. At least 8 years, I would say.
At least with the Pride, like the Dyke March may be different. A few workplaces ago, one of my coworkers came out as trans, and they asked if we'd walk with them. And, not accepting by their parents. That was another moment, too, where there was parents holding signs. I don't know what it is with parents. I have a great relationship with mine. But somehow this makes me really emotional. But they had a sign being like, if your parents don't want to hug you, you can come over and hug me.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
That's not what it was worded. That sounds a little off. But it was like, I'm here for the hugs if you need it. And
it's nice.
That, too, just that love. I guess that's my next question, though, is like, how is the bodies, touching bodies, kissing, hugging, that going to return to Pride? How is the kink going to return to Pride? How is Pride going to rearrange itself in a post-pandemic world where we've been so distant from each other?
I think once everybody's vaccinated and people feel safe, it's just going to go back to normal. Because like if you look at live streams of what's going on in the States right now, it's 100% back. Like Vegas is 100% back. Disney is 100% back.
I have friends like doing Pride things in like San Francisco and DC, and like it is because people have so much pent up energy. If anything, it's wilder.
They're waiting for it. Everybody's waiting for it. I mean, I wouldn't hold the state's reactions to anything as how we should behave because I think
for sure don't do that.
But at the same time, I think that there is definitely. I think that the reaction of their population is similar to our population, and that people are dying to hug and to do those things again. Did you see that video of Madonna at the Boom Boom Room or whatever in New York for Pride like a couple nights ago? She was surprised. It's packed. People are packed. Like they are just shoulder to shoulder. Like it's a throng of people with arms on top of each other. Like it's kind of indoors. Like it's kind of gross to me because I can't imagine doing that, but I wish I could feel that comfortable. And they are less vaccinated than us, and they are doing that. And we are more vaccinated than them, and we are not even allowed to have, well, next week we will be able to have some indoors, but 5 people, right? Like not hundreds of people.
Well, Seattle hit 70% vaccination a week or two ago, and we still aren't doing Pride or anything for it. So
okay, so Seattle seems kind of more like us.
I mean,
I think Washington is in some ways one of the saner states.
Yeah, and I mean, the United States is so huge with such regional like variety. If you look at the like super blue cities, like San Francisco Bay Area, like there are areas of the Bay Area that are 90% plus double vaxxed.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because like the country in general is quite low. Like they've kind of capped out at 50%.
But like if there's people in a crowded room in New York and they're all like double vax, who the fuck cares if someone in like Wichita is like, I'm not getting a vax? Like,
exactly.
Is Wichita where Twister takes place?
Part of it, yeah.
Is it? I just rewatched Twister. I just watched that like 3 weeks ago on Netflix.
The best
It's a
film.
movie to watch with your dad. I think I watched it with my dad. It is
No,
like,
yeah, that's a very dad movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So
It's a weird thing to say, but I kind of feel like that movie would have been better if more people died. Anyway.
Raise the stakes.
Stakes were too low. So just to jump in on and just kind of like picking up on what some of the people were saying, how is Kink going to come back to Pride? Jared, I know you don't go to Pride all that much, but you do spend a lot of time on Twitter.
I don't know if we want to reiterate that discourse. That's not a happy thing.
Okay, well, I just wanted to like because the reason we decided to do black pasta. Jared, can you can still talk, right?
Yeah.
Are you okay? There we go. The reason we decided to do black pasta was to support the idea of kink belonging at Pride. So I just wanted to know if you wanted to like say a few words about like jump in about like why that's a thing now, why it needs to be defended. What's going on for anyone who hasn't heard about that?
I haven't heard about it. What happened?
Oh,
There
are some people that
Does something happen?
Okay.
There's a lot of discourse happening. I don't know if it's just in the States or what, about like, oh, we don't want people in leather at Pride or whatever because my kids might see it or something like that. And it's like, they're not like fucking right on Fifth Avenue, right? Like you're just seeing someone in a leather mask or whatever. It's not a big deal. There's this sort of puritanical resurgence, even among like queer youth in the US, again, I don't know about Canada, where it's like, even though they may be out or whatever, they're stepping back in terms of what's acceptable, and what they're deeming acceptable is almost the same as what like a Republican senator would deem acceptable. So,
but again, the kink community was very much who started Pride.
Yeah.
And I've taken, so I have a 24-year-old kid and a 17-year-old kid, and I've taken them to Pride since they were in Snugglies. And the fact of the matter is that if I bring a kid to Pride, that's on me. And so if there's something that I think, you know what, maybe not yet, that's on me to turn around and go the other way. That's not on people who are part of the gay community who are into kink to hide that away. And so I
agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It's not meant to be sanitized to become a family event. That's not the purpose of the event.
Yeah,
so
and that's sort of in the discourse as I understand it.
You should know what you're getting to.
Like,
but that's a push for like.
But see, that's an interesting thing because like, I was just gonna say like I have a daughter that you've just briefly met, and so she's been to Pride a few times already. Like she started as soon as we felt like she was old enough to sort of like maybe even two. Maybe even one, I can't remember. She's probably been every year of her life. She just likes the colors. Like people would always hand her balloons and there's a lot of rainbows and she likes rainbows. And, and now she likes that. But like, it's always been a fun activity for her and us to take her into a very festive street. But yeah, you do see like fully naked people in leather and whatnot and everything. And so I do feel a little uncomfortable. Like I feel like I don't know if I want to explain what's happening to her at the age of 4. But I would never say that they have no right to be there. It's my choice to bring them out. And I feel like, I think she's seen it and it doesn't really bother me that much, but it's like, I think that in general, Pride, I have 2 things to say. I think it is nice that it's become a family-friendly concept and event. Like the month is for everybody. So like even children are included and I do enjoy that. But at the same time, I mean, yes, there's adult aspects to Pride that should be celebrated, and it's really up to you to decide whether or not your kid sees it or not. And so we stick to daytime things. Obviously, I'm not taking her to bars or anything like that. she hasn't been to a beer garden. Not yet. But I think it's important. I think that the whole family thing, I actually am very happy that many just straight families, like heteronormative families, now make it a point to take their kids to Pride sometimes. Like I know some, and that's right, David, that there is a kids Pride component. And I think that's healthy that all families are there, because honestly, like change doesn't happen just from the oppressed. It needs the buy-in from the larger population. And if they're participating, that's the only way it's going to work. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like too, we have to remember that like queerness and sex are so intertwined. And like when we think of even the AIDS epidemic, like sex has always been a part of like the queer community, as much as we like want to further ourselves from it or not. Like those go hand in hand. And queer health, you can't talk about queer health without talking about like safe sex. And even like we were the starters of the wearing condoms. Like, you know, like we introduced safe sex to the world because of the pandemic that the queer world was going through only 20, 30 years ago, maybe longer. The 80s seem not that long ago, but yes. So I think like it has a complete place. I think that like it needs to stay. And I think, as I said in the private chat, like the sanitization of pride, I think is a really dangerous slope. And I think that also comes from this like, well, you have gay marriage, so everything's perfect. And like this idea of the like heteronormative family of like male, female, okay, now people can get married, so you're good, but like this isn't the idea of everyone. So we have to remember that. But I think it's the same as, and it does come down, as you said, Austin, I think that it's either, daytime activities. Those spaces are so important for kids, like Kids Pride, especially for youth that are maybe questioning themselves. Like kids' spaces are so integral.
And for kids of queer parents.
And for queer parents who don't, who already feel ostracized or out of the regular heteronormative lifestyle because they are growing up in a different experience. But I think it does also come down to either the parents like not showing them things or explaining like, this is the kink community. I'll tell you about it in a few years, but they like wearing costumes. You like wearing costumes. Like there's ways to explain it where it's not like a dangerous slope, or just saying like, we'll talk about it in years to come, but these
they like
people
to
like
play
leather.
dress up as a perfectly
You like
good explanation.
Exactly.
But also, you're taller than your kid. You can see where
you'd be like, oh, there's a bunch of pops.
Exactly. It is somewhat easy to sort of try. You can't control everything. But I totally agree. Like I feel also like, you know, as gay parents with a daughter, like, you know, when she was in daycare, she came home one day and said, how come I don't have a mommy? Because like she hadn't thought about it until at the end of every school day. For whatever reason, it was always the moms that came to pick up the kids. So all the kids were like, where's my mom? Where's my mom? And it became a thing. Yes. And I say it tongue in cheek. I know why. But it's like, but, you know, she was always like, everybody's asking for their mom and I don't have a mom that's picking me up. And we're like, I know, you've got two dads. We love you very much. And there's all types of families. And so we've always been very clear about that. And we've always made a point of getting to know people, friends, making friends that are like us. So we were very fortunate that when we moved to the East End, I really wasn't sure how we were going to be received or what it was like, but it turns out there's so many queer people out here, and actually a lot of like gay families, and like there's a couple that live literally just around the corner from us, and they have a son that's 1 year older than Maddie, and we were invited to like a picnic with all these gay parents, and so we very much wanted to normalize her family, and it is for her now. Like she knows almost as many families that are like ours that are not like ours, and you know, that are, and two lesbians, and we've talked about every kind, and so she feels it's normal. But until we'd actually moved here and actually, you know, had the fortunate experience of meeting all these families, Pride was really the only way we could show her lots of people that looked like us, right? Because when you walk around the street normally, it's oh, she's good with the expensive. Maddie's already been asking me for a Chanel purse at the age of 5.
She is your daughter, that is for sure.
Yeah, there's no.
Well, you got her like a Michael Kors purse when she was 1, when she was like
you did?
I did, but it was yes, I did, but it's because like her aunt. I gave her aunt a Michael Kors purse for Christmas, and then Maddie really liked it, and she was wearing it around. So I had to get one for her, and so now but so she has it. But yeah, I've told but anyway, but. That's when you know you have gay parents, when you're like talking Chanel at the age of 4. But I think that Pride was another way that she sort of saw other people that looked like us, because there would be occasionally other families, and we try to find events that we thought there would be other gay families, and so she always saw that. And the other thing I like about Pride is that there's a lot of like races. I feel like it's quite diverse usually, not some spaces, but I mean there are, and I feel like that's another thing that we've always tried to show her, that it's not just everybody's not just white, because she's not white, I'm not white, and it's good to show her that. So at its best, Pride can show you all of those things.
Yeah.
And she actually has seen some kink stuff. I remember just like one day we were on Church Street and there was a guy being spanked by an older guy, and she goes, "Why is he hitting him?" And I said, "Oh, that's just I think I did say something like that's just the way they play. They're friends, or they're maybe
fun.
in a relationship, and that's just what they do." And she didn't really seem that interested, to be honest.
A simple, truthful explanation will it doesn't go into like the specifics that they don't need to know and won't comprehend.
Yeah,
it generally does the trick. They're playing dress up. They're playing a game with each other.
Yeah. But we always tell her the truth about everything. We never talked about sex until like last year when she was 4. She asked about babies, and so we told her. And I don't know how much she really understands. But
the thing about the whole Twitter Puritan, neo-Puritan sort of thing that really a lot of it frustrated me, but a lot of it was very dishonest. Like they would have like pictures from Folsom and be like, "Look what is happening at Pride. You want to subject your child to this?" It's like, this is Folsom. That's not a Pride parade. It's a adult only event. And have you ever been to Pride?
That's a kink festival, right? That's an actual.
You don't see
or a Pride dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Pride dungeons happen, but you don't take your kid to them.
Yeah, and those things should happen, and it's right that they do happen. But it is completely like disingenuous to be like, well, they're doing this in front of children. It's like, no, these are adult only events, and you are being very dishonest by putting this picture. And
I'm glad I'm not on Twitter. That would really annoy me.
Twitter is what you make of it. I would give up Facebook before I gave up Twitter easily.
Yeah.
I only use Twitter. I only use Twitter for news. Like I feel like if something is happening, I'll get on the spot reactions on Twitter. But I don't. I feel like it's screaming into a void. If I don't post on Twitter. I just use it as a news resource. Whereas, but I find it interesting, and it is crazy though, the outrage. Like I can't be on it for very long because you don't want to engage. Like I find the same on Facebook. Like when somebody says something very ignorant, I always want to sort of say, "Oh, well, they obviously don't realize this. If I just type this one little thing, it'll change their whole mind." And obviously that never happens. No. Yeah, I just don't do that anymore.
Learning how to disengage and put the phone away is a real good mental health skill.
Yes.
I'm just going to cut in with noodle-related news.
Noodle-related news.
Back to noodle-related
Breaking noodle news.
So Invo, who like longtime viewers of this stream, if there are any, may remember as a one-time guest, and her partner Rafik are in Nova Scotia on the opposite coast from Jared, making pasta at the same time. And
fantastic!
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
Oh man!
Look at those noodles! Look at those noodles!
I want to eat them all.
I would love to eat them too.
Wow!
Invo and Rafik, that is amazing! Congratulations! No, they have a pasta machine, so they're like cranking those out from an actual machine, which is why they look so nice and orderly and
nice.
Clean. But yeah.
Jared, are you currently fondling your mound of noodle mass? Is that?
How dirty can we make this sound?
Wet ass noodles?
I mean, wet ass pasta, right?
Yeah, wet ass pasta.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's in plastic wrap, but this is what it looks like right now. It's kind of softening up as the flour absorbs all the moisture from the. Let me show you my nudes.
Yeah, send us nudes.
Send nudes.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's absorbing all the moisture as one does, and I will roll it out in a little bit once I actually put the clams on to cook.
Nice.
So
does it actually look black? Can we
yeah, I mean it's coated with flour right now,
yes.
but it is unwrap it
quite
slightly.
dark. Yeah,
that's amazing considering you put like a tablespoon.
I know. I wanted more. I wanted more.
We wanted more.
More.
Is this the first time you've ever done squid ink pasta?
Yeah. I mean, I've cooked it before, but it was packaged. It was pre-made. So
This is so you've made the pasta. Yeah. So what are you going to do next? Are you going to knead it, flatten it, and then slice it?
The next step is to get the clams and the sausage together.
Yeah. We need to get Jared a little bell to ring to bring focus back to the cooking.
Kitchen
somehow
timer.
everything sounds dirty. Somehow.
Yeah.
I know.
And even if it doesn't actually make any sense, if you literally.
It's the best dish ever because everything has a.
Yes, everything is connotations. Everything is
Because
more
why I
Are
picked
you
it.
massaging to elongate it? Are you
Yeah,
stretching
it's just a
it?
good thing I didn't pick razor clams for this. They're gooey ducks. No, gooey ducks. It should have been a gooey duck.
Oh no, those are disgusting. Okay, that's something that you should pull up on screen.
What's a gooey duck?
Oh yeah, Nadia, can you pull up a gooey duck?
I
Yeah,
don't know if I can.
Spelled like
but I'll try.
geoduck. It's a certain kind of clam that comes out of the shell in a very phallic shape.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh my god!
I've been eating sushi and being like, oh, this is geoduck, and I've been like,
oh my god!
I can't eat this.
Everyone
Can I see?
Google it right now. Image search.
Hold on.
Can you put it
I'm
on the
doing
screen?
research. Yeah, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember
Um,
as a kid going to the local Asian grocery store and seeing a tank full of these things and going,
They really look very phallic.
they can't retract the
I'm
neck fully
trying.
into the shell.
Found
That's
it.
like
Yeah.
the foot thing. They like
Yes,
drag
hold
themselves
on.
across the sand, like. But no,
Incredible.
I've never seen anything more phallic than a geoduck. Or how did you order it, Jared?
It's gooey duck.
Maybe don't. Maybe
Gooey
don't
duck?
share it, Nadia.
I am. Hang on. Just
No,
They do
don't.
look-
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I'm working on it.
Chris
Wait,
is saying, let's get demonetized.
They do look a little.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
We don't want to get our channel banned if they.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we
right,
don't
right,
want
right,
shut up,
right.
man.
It's just a
okay.
geoduck.
Well, the robots
They-
might not know that.
They only live in this area.
Look at the
What?
size. Look at the size of this
Holy
geoduck.
crap!
They're
I didn't realize they were
gigantic.
so big.
Yeah.
It's a
You gotta
huge.
stretch before
That's
that.
a two-hander geoduck.
Okay, this is the
So,
worst.
but
Hold
wait,
on.
is it a
Okay.
fish? It's a clam?
It's a
It's a
clam. Wait, I didn't. They're from here. They're from like
They're-
southwestern Ontario,
No.
or no, like
No.
Seattle.
Ah,
They're from Puget Sound.
yeah.
This is Washington State. This is
Oh,
like where
wow.
Jared's from. Look at this. Look at this thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways,
Anyway,
just
geoduck.
thought.
Basically, yes.
Who
So
knew?
it looks like a giant dong. It's basically.
There's enough meat on one of those for like a several meals.
Well,
Yeah.
Could satiate you. For,
Jared,
yeah.
Jared, can you in fact eat the gooey ducks, which I thought I would never
Yeah.
realize were pronounced that way?
They're
Okay.
actually a delicacy in other countries, not so much here.
I'm being told one of our main tourist attractions.
Okay, stop with the.
How do you prepare a geoduck?
Okay.
I
Boil
never
it?
have.
Gooey duck.
I think
Gooey duck.
you gotta.
Oh,
I think you gotta peel it.
Thank
actually,
you.
you gotta
Thanks,
pull
Stu.
off the skin.
So there is a
my friend
sushi
Sue has
with it.
confirmed it's definitely pronounced gooey duck.
gooey?
I had no clue about that. That's something I just
I had
learned.
no idea. Yeah.
So there's
Damn
you can I think peel it and you
Not
can have it
yet.
as like sashimi, or you can
Yeah.
boil it. Am I right, Jared, in saying that?
You can.
I've
make
never
chowder
cooked it
out of
because I've been scared of it.
I thought it was a Pokemon. I just said Geoduck. Sure.
Geoduck sounds like a
Okay.
Pokemon.
Michael,
It is.
stop
This is
doing that.
Psyduck, and then yeah. Yes.
Comments.
Have you had gooey duck, Sue?
Let me just
What?
show. This is about to
Oh
go
my
in the
goodness.
oven to cook the
Oh, hold on.
clams.
Please.
Oh wait, can you make it bigger?
I'm
Yes.
trying to. Yeah.
Come on,
Picture?
Nadia. Okay. So this is going to go in, and then I'll start rolling the pasta.
Okay.
Woo.
So are those cherry tomatoes in there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So you're like blistering them, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to roast in the oven.
Nice.
How hot is it? Is it like a hot oven?
Yeah, it's
It can get
it's just
hotter.
like it's 350. It's 180 Celsius.
My friend Sue just texted me that she has had gooey duck and it's okay. She says it's clam. It tastes like clam.
Yes. It just
You
looks
just have to
weird.
get over the image of it, and it tastes all right.
Once you
Yeah.
slice it, you can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is cool. I want to see the rolling out process happening.
So do I. I've never made pasta.
You
Oh.
made the mantid, like.
Yeah, that was a pasta-ish dough, but I haven't
Yeah.
like.
Ooh.
Is that
Sorry
a
for
rolling
the
pin? Are you
vibrating.
happy to see me? Sorry.
A rolling pin joke. Oh my god. Has anyone
Sorry
here
for the
else,
vibrating camera.
has anyone here other than Inbal and Rafiq, who obviously are just lapping us over on it being like later in the day in Nova Scotia. Has anyone else here ever made pasta?
Yeah, we have a pasta machine. We bought it to
Oh, yeah.
like make it with company, but then the pandemic hit. So
Right.
No.
but we have like a really nice one. We've made it a few times. Nothing this fancy. We usually do like what do we call it? Squasha. That's not right. It's like squash and sausage. Oh, squassage. Squash and sausage pasta in the autumn months.
Oh,
with
nice.
it. Mm-hmm.
Uncle Grangles has made
Cute.
I make
made
pasta.
pasta and it cooks so fast. Like homemade pasta cooks so much faster than the dry stuff. And so you work and you make it, and then you melt it in a pot, and then you start again.
The flavor though is
good. Yeah, my husband has made pasta. I don't cook anything.
Yeah, Tommy is like your basically
eat, my
your
husband
in-house cook. Yes.
Same.
He is. He's my in-house cook and chef and baker. He's a really good baker.
He's amazing at He's amazing at baking. Has he done macarons lately?
He hasn't done it for a while, but I think the time is coming that he'll start it. I've been basically bugging. It was. He does really great macarons. I've been bugging him mostly for pies. Like it's all about pies lately.
Oh, it is pie season. That's for sure.
It is pie season.
I want to make pasta. I feel guilty that I have not made pasta. I've had a pasta machine for a while, and the reason I have it is I was at this. I love going to yard sales. This is something I really miss about pre-pandemic days, and hopefully it'll come back. And I love it when there's in Toronto, and I'm sure this happens in other cities, but often we have these neighborhood yard sales where like an entire neighborhood, like 80 different households have yard sales all on the same day. So you can just get on transit, go to the neighborhood, grab a coffee, and wander around looking at people's stuff, and it's super fun.
Like my neighborhood. You told me about the one in mine. Yeah.
Well, this was actually, I think, in your neighborhood. It was one of the East End ones. I was walking around, and these two women were sitting in their yard chatting, and they had a pasta machine. And I went over and I was like talking with them for a while about like stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, we have this pasta machine, and my mom got it for me, but we never use it, so we're gonna sell it." And I was like, I really want it, but do I want to drag it home? Am I actually going to use it, etc., etc.? And so I didn't buy it. I was like, I'm going to get it, and then I'm just not going to use it. And then I wandered off, and then I walked back, and I was walking down their block again, and I heard someone like yell, and I turned down, and one of the women was running after me, holding the pasta machine, and she was like, "We've decided you should have it. You should make pasta."
Oh,
and so they gave it to me.
That's
and
so
I still
nice.
haven't made pasta with it, but I really want to.
You know what, Nadia? I will allow you to cook me pasta when I will do that for you.
Wow, that is gracious.
Yeah.
Jared, I have to say, I'm finding it incredibly mesmerizing and pleasing watching you roll out this
It is
pasta.
very pleasing.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the visual.
It's not to do with his arms, I'm sure.
Just the whole visual.
The whole visual. Yeah, Austin was a big fan of the idea of you doing this shirtless, Jared.
Thanks for that, Nadia.
No
lies spotted. But.
Generally in favor of the shirtlessness.
Mikey's a fan of shirtlessness. You could
Sure, interpolate me into this. I mean, my Twitter banner says "Sorry, I have no shirt on." So,
well, I don't think anyone would mind if you just decided it was too hot.
No, if it gets hot in there, Jared,
just throwing it out there, just tossing it out there.
If it gets hot in there, you can make it hotter. We're just saying.
No, then I'll get flour all over my shirt. So
right, you have to think of your shirt.
Yes.
I can't believe how I can't believe that it looks like leather. Like it really does.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Chris,
I think this is probably about as thin as I'm going to be able to get this. So I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Chris says Jared does not yet have the confidence of a Nana, but it will come in time. And I'm showing his meaning your rolling technique, but I just to me, it's like about the shirtlessness. I'm like, did your Nana take her shirt off to make pasta?
When it's really hot out.
Yeah, when it's really hot out.
That's the confident Nana.
Yeah.
I would be more confident with the rolling, but I don't want to knock the laptop off the table.
This is
So you're not seeing me at my most confident.
Right. You're being media kind of
very
aware.
Restrained.
You're holding back.
Yeah.
Restrained.
Oh my god. Look at this. So how are you, what are you aiming for? Like fettuccine noodles or what's the...
Fettuccine noodles?
Fettuccine.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Oh. Okay.
Now I understand. I was like, why is he rolling it up?
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh my god.
So
I would have
clever.
never guessed.
Wesley, you should have said that out loud. Confident Nana is a great drag name.
Yeah, please welcome to the stage, Confident Nana.
Confident Nana.
Okay, I think we're doing this too many cooks thing again. Where it might go.
Yeah, sorry. When you're talking, I try to jump in and do it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Look at this. Here
So are you going to unravel one of these little noodle cut things?
Yeah, show us a nude.
My name is blocking it, but yeah.
Show us your nudes.
Oh, nice.
Show us your nudes. Oh, nice.
Oh.
Nice.
They look amazing. Oh my god.
It's so funny. When I've made pasta, I now I'm realizing stupidly just went and look at this much more efficient way of doing it.
I thought that's what he would do, like do these very long cuts. I'm like, this is gonna be this is so much smarter.
This
I've
is
done
so
the
much
same
smarter.
thing as you, Rebecca. Yeah, I've never. Who would have thought? Roll it up.
I would never have thought to do it any other way.
This is why Jared is a cooking show and we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like, you know those like sour
Worms?
fruit leather things?
Yeah.
This is
Fruit
the
leather.
same texture,
Interesting.
which I hope will not make the
Kinda
finished
looks like-
product really gross.
This
How
is going to
long
sound really.
are they telling you to boil them?
Oh, like 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to dry out a bit before
Really
you boil
fast.
it? Does it have to sit a bit?
I don't think they have to, but I'm going to let them because I may not have a choice. The water
Right.
isn't boiling yet.
Uh-huh. Well, you still have about 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be done on time.
Yeah. We've had really good luck with this stream with the things that you cook taking like exactly 2 hours and sort of triumphantly finishing just as the stream comes to an end. So look at this. They're getting tangled.
They're very noodly.
So cool.
Yeah, the heat is making them a little too soft, so they're actually. I have to do
Okay.
more of this than I would ordinarily, I think.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
God, this is so
I'm
much
gonna go
fun.
back to...
I wish you lived closer, Jared, and I wish we had like an after show where then we like met up outside and then we all were like, "This
We
is
could all eat.
delicious."
Yeah,
Oh my God,
exactly.
I know. I'm like
Every episode of this-
craving this.
I
now.
was
I feel
totally
like, why
thinking
is
the
that
same
food
thing.
2,000 miles away. I'm not happy
Mhm.
about that. The
I
opposite.
actually am very hungry.
Too
I mean,
far
just what time is it now? It's like
It's
5:23.
5:20. Yeah.
yeah. See, this is
5:20,
this is close to when I would be eating dinner with Maddie because she would eat a little earlier sometimes. So I think as soon as this is done, I am going to make some pasta.
Same. Jared, if you ever come visit, you'll have to cook for all of us. In person.
The pressure.
Yeah.
Oh no.
If you title this, I think you should call it "Send Nudes."
Send nudes.
NOOD.
Oh my god. Who knew?
That was a whole campaign with KD earlier this year, 2020.
Was
where-
it?
Yeah, I had friends working on it in marketing. But yeah, they had a whole like send nudes campaign where like
For
you were
Kraft
supposed to
Dinner?
yeah,
That's hilarious.
and it went really, really well. Like, it's a great.
That's pretty avant-garde for Kraft Dinner. It's like
Right?
they're well, I would say like 50% of the audience is children and 50% is people in university.
Yeah.
And the other 2% is just no. There's no other 2%, but yeah, no, mostly it's university people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just to try to, I don't know, make it fun during, I guess, the pandemic was probably
Sex
their
up
thing.
Kraft Dinner.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we have arrived. We still have like 40 minutes to go, and so we have some time. So I thought maybe I would like ask people about stuff they're working on. Wes, do you want to talk about the first song is the deepest? Or is
Yeah.
There
Yeah, and I'll throw a link in the chat, which you can share, I guess, as well, to it and Relish and Muster. So 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to start with my art zine thing. So yeah, early pandemic days, I had a lot of friends who were living alone and were, we just were either art adjacent. Like back in the day when I was in university, I was in school for theater. I'm not doing theater with my life now, but that doesn't mean that the arts aren't far away from my life. They play into like everything I do and even the work I do. My skills I learned in that still play into like the project management I do now. So so we started this little thing. We applied to a grant for Buddies in Bad Time Theater, which for anyone not in Toronto, that's queer theater here in the city. So they were doing analog pride is what they called it. And they were looking for analog projects they were looking for analog projects. So we applied, me and a coworker and a good friend of mine,
what's an analog project? Like, does that just mean live, not digital? Or is there another?
They were looking for like digital projects, but projects that were, also in person, but not in person, or other ways to celebrate Pride where it wasn't a danger. So it could be like a live stream theater piece, or it could be a dance piece that happened on a corner, or it could be like a happening, for example. So we based ours off of Yoko Ono's 13-Day Dance Festival, which was, and we did a page for like 13 Days of Pride, each day with instructions that you could do on your own. So that was like our first scene. And then as we were writing the last page of it, we were like, relish in the moment. And I think it was muster up the energy to keep it going. And we're like, oh, that's a great name. So then following that, me and some other old coworkers started a zine, which I'm going to share in the comments for Nadia to share. So it's called Relish and Muster. And as of late, I've been really speaking to a lot of queer artists around the world. A lot of people are getting shadow banned. So this is why we don't show pictures of our, I'm going to say geoducks online. But a lot of queer art is because of data discrimination, because of queer bodies on screen. Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, all of these block a lot of queer bodies. So a lot of queer artists are having a lot of trouble like getting their photography and art out there. So anyways, we have a little yellow bar over any nips and bits, but you can check out that there. And then secondly, I have a really awesome project with Zara from Jane's Walk, and that's how I know Nadia here. We're on Jane's Walk together, and that has been a huge. When we speak about community, that's been the one thing that like I can look forward to. If I know that there's a meeting next week, I'm like full of laughter and just so happy. And it's like one of the things that like
energy to the meetings too. It's always like, oh, here comes Wesley. He's like a basket of happy puppies at the
I guess so. I am a little, but I think everyone comes, it's been the one thing, and I joined my interview for Jane's Walk was on the night that the world shut down. So I got back in, got off a streetcar, got off a bus, and like nearly had a panic attack because I was like, what is happening? The NHL shut down. And then I was like, oh my God, I have an interview in 10 minutes. But so I've only known Nadia digitally, but that has been a huge.
Wow.
Yeah. But we will very, very, very soon, in a few weeks, and maybe make pasta. But during the last year, we've had some digital Jane's Walk festivals. This year, me and Zara, who's going to be stepping down, we talked about our first experiences in the city and how, I don't know, just those like first few memories, like you walk down that street corner or that one building that you went to a dance in, or that bar that you had your first kiss in, or that food that you had on that patio, like those memories hold so dear to your heart.
Yeah.
And especially in a time, punish that dough. But
Make it your,
so just lastly about this is that we talked, especially in this time where we're all distant, this point of nostalgia, this like psychogeography is so important. So we put together this thing called The First Song is the Deepest, where we asked people to submit a 3 to 4 minute clip of their experience in the city in association with a location. Oh my God, that looks amazing.
That looks really good.
And then lastly, with a song that maybe played around the time or that they were listening to, or some people submitted things around Horseshoe Tavern and their first experience playing there. So we didn't expect, I didn't expect such a good turnout, but we had 20, 25 people submit to it, trying to do an hour and 40 minute podcast, audio cast thing of folks' experience in the city. But definitely we're trying to expand it now to other cities. So Jared, Rebecca, Mikey, Austin, please, if you have a memory you want to share, or if you want to listen to it, and anyone watching today, take a look at it. So yeah, sorry, that was a long rant, but
that sounds really interesting.
Really interesting, though. That's a really great project.
Yeah, I would love to submit something.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, that's the walk list. Oh, sorry, I did send the wrong link. But people can check out other walks too.
But can we get to the project from the walk link?
Yeah, I think it's on the walk list, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to give me a more specific link, that would be fine too, and I'll put it up.
Cool. What is everyone else working on?
Yeah.
I'm
Michael,
supposed to be.
Sure.
I'm supposed to be editing a podcast episode. Oops.
But
no. So actually, it's interesting. Your project with The First Song is the Deepest. I have a podcast called This Is Your Mixtape, where I
follow you on Instagram.
Austin and Nadia have both been guests. Jared will be a guest someday. But I get an interesting person to give me 5 songs that sort of tell me the story of their life, however they want to do it. Most people kind of do a chronological thing. So they'll have a song from their childhood, from their teen years, their 20s, 30s, 40s, however they want to do it. But I don't enforce that. They can they can interpret the challenge however they wish. And we sort of talk for 10, 15 minutes about each song, but I also want to know what was going on in your life. What made you pick this song? What does it tell me about the person you were and the experiences you were having at the time? And this sort of song becomes a lens for them to talk about themselves. And it's, different people are different. Some people really get into the music and that's cool. Other people really just sort of want talk about themselves, which is also good. I want both of those to be on the table, and I want people to sort of go to their own comfort level with how much they want to share. And
that was one of the most fun podcasts I've ever been a guest on. I really enjoyed our conversation. I thought it was. This is going to sound narcissistic, but I liked it so much. I listened to my own podcast episode multiple times.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the other thing I say, Michael, is it's funny because where was this? I was working at DHX at the time, and some of my coworkers, I let them know about it. So they all kind of some of them listened to it and they talked to me afterwards. And they're like, I feel like I really know you now just because of listening to that thing. So it was cool. Thanks for having me on there.
Well, you were such a fantastic guest. And anyone who's on the show is so generous with me because they're giving me 60 to 70, 55, 60, 65, 70 minutes of themselves. Yeah. And I feel really lucky that I've had so many people who have been so generous. And David, Demchuk, and Chris in the comments, they've also done it. David's episode was really one of the highlights of the whole thing. I'm at number 50 now. And so, I don't know. They're all, I shouldn't have. My favorite child is David. That's the one where I had to mute my mic because I started to cry at one point. That's why it stands out to me.
Wow.
So,
everybody's
good idea for. Yes. It's such a good idea for a show because it's so simple, but it's such a good way into,
the heart of people.
Yeah, the heart of people without actually, without just like asking them what was your childhood like, asking them like about their songs, and then sort of getting at things through these songs. So it was a really fun experience for me too when I did it. So what's having done 50 of these now, like are there patterns that come up, or is there anything that has like really struck you about things that people say over and over?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I should also say Nadia was my second ever guest. So like I was still figuring things out, and it was really great to have a friend who was like very helpful in that. Patterns.
It was like the most I've ever talked about myself. I feel like it was just like
patterns. That's such an interesting question.
Does everyone do a heartbreak one?
No.
Yeah.
No, a
Okay.
lot of people don't. So I've by the nature of who I am and the sort of crowds I run with, I've had a lot of queer guests. And like you would think, oh well, there's going to be the coming out story, but not always. And I try not to go, like I've learned over doing this. I went into it having certain preconceived notions about the kinds of things that people would want to talk about and the kinds of things that the music would mean to them. And I've sort of had to learn to step back from that and sort of let the guest show me the direction they want to take things. And I think that's much better than me trying to set an agenda. I'm trying to think of patterns that I've had with guests, and really, I can't identify any. It's been so diverse. I have lots of people who want to tell me everything, and I'll have to like drop a content warning and like we're about to get a really heavy story that deals with domestic abuse. If this is a trigger for you, skip ahead to this time. Other people, they want to skim along the surface, and it's just sort of like laughs, and that's cool too. Like if it was always heavy, it would be a lot,
That's another nice thing about the format is that, it does kind of naturally give you that that kind of variety. I'm just interested in, because when Rebecca asked about is there a lot of heartbreak, because I know that because I've listened to the first song Is the Deepest, and I've talked to you about it, Wes, and for a lot of people, the song that had emotional resonance for them is a breakup song, right? And it's like a time and a place where it was either a breakup or it was like a really romantic moment for them. Oh my God.
Wow.
Look at all those nudes.
Actually, let's go back to the nudes.
This is way more than I actually need, so I'm going to have some leftover squid ink pasta. But now I'm going to go cook
it. Totally freeze it.
That's true. I think you can freeze fresh pasta.
You can totally do that.
And Chris points out queer guests from Scotland. That is the one pattern. For whatever reason, queer writers from Glasgow and Edinburgh are like make up about 12 to 15% of my entire like stable of guests.
That's funny. How do you meet them?
Well, I had a couple of old internet friends from Glasgow, and like I did one of them who I did one of them. Good God, I interviewed one of them, and then he would like hook me onto someone else, and then because we follow each other on Twitter, we would sort of the people that he followed who he would retweet like, this person's cool, so I'd follow them and be like, oh, you have a book of short stories coming out, come on my show. And it just sort of snowballed from there. So if I ever do a live recording of one, it has to be in Glasgow. That's just how it works out.
Do you know, you should get Billy Porter, because he's a fan of yours. That would be a really good episode.
Billy Porter thirst follows me on Instagram.
And he likes everything. He likes everything.
Oh my God. Jared just says the pasta looks amazing.
Where are the sausages? I feel like we've lost sight of your sausage, Jared.
Show us your sausage.
The clams really overwhelmed it.
Were they hidden under the clams?
They're interspersed.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh, let's not read too much into that.
Too late. I would bring the laptop over here to show the pasta cooking, but my stove is really messy and it's disgusting, and I don't want to put that on the air.
So how are you cooking the pastas? Is it like you're putting the pasta into the pan with the clams and the sausage?
No, cooking it, just boiling
You're boiling it on the... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's really humid in here now.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So that'll take a couple minutes.
Okay.
Anyone else working on anything they want to talk about? Austin, you've been doing a lot of like diversity stuff at your...
Yeah, actually, that's true. So I work at Chorus, and I'm a lawyer at Chorus, and
Tell us what Chorus is. No one knows.
Sorry.
No one knows what it is. Sorry.
No one knows what it is. I work for a company called Chorus Entertainment Inc., and it's basically a big media company in Canada, and so it does a lot of things. Like it owns a lot of broadcast television channels, like in Canada. So it owns Global, it owns Treehouse, it owns Disney Channel. Like it has a lot of channels. And it also owns a studio, Nelvana Studio, which is like an animation studio. It's 50 years old this year. Makes a lot of cartoons, kids content, and it also owns like Entertainment Tonight and has a bunch of radio stations. We have the top 3 radio stations in Ontario, I think, and it owns a lot of media stuff. And so I'm a lawyer. I work on the Nelvana on production, on Nelvana Productions, and I also do all the legals for Entertainment Tonight Canada. I do all the legals for their digital studios like Soda, Ken. They have an influencer kind of studio. So anyway, that's the work I do. But since I've started, I joined a diversity task force that was started in the Nelvana Studios, and I'm heading up the writer side of it, where we're trying to just encourage more writers, BIPOC writers, to be there and involved, because there's been so few. I reached out to a lot of agents to sort of see if there are any clients they had that would be interested, like BIPOC clients, and I was told by many of them that they never pushed them for animation because historically there's been zero opportunity for BIPOC writers in animation. It's been so we're trying to change that. We've got now a database of BIPOC writers and directors, and I also helped organize a talk with BIPOC writers that are already in the space, that we could encourage other BIPOC writers that don't have the experience to sort of encourage them. So we're sort of course has been very good about sort of supporting these initiatives. And then I also has started up an Asian employee resource group within the company, sort of a group for other Asian coworkers. And Chorus is supporting it. We have a budget, and we put on 3 events for Asian Heritage Month, which was in May. So we had like 2 panels. One was a panel on just lived experiences. I thought it would be better than just sort of throwing stats at people. Like we had like 5 Chorus employees, and I was one of them. We just sort of shared some of our own personal stories, and it went over very well. Like people were very thankful for us for sharing, and I think it really illuminates what the experience is like when you know these people and you're hearing personal stories and how it impacts them. Then we did a screening, because I'm also outside of work, I'm the co-chair of the Toronto Real Asian International Film Festival, which is a film festival that basically focuses on amplifying Asian voices, both East Asian and South Asian, and it's I think we're doing our 25th anniversary this year. So our programmers actually got a hold of a film that's been out of circulation. It was actually a documentary from the 80s called Who Killed Vincent Chin. It was actually nominated for an Oscar, and it was a bit of a media frenzy when it happened, because it was a young Asian man was murdered in full view of witnesses by 2 disgruntled white men who had recently lost their jobs at a car plant, and they believed he was Japanese, and that whole thing was happening at the time. And they actually followed him in a car with a baseball bat, and then one held him and the other beat him to death with a baseball bat, and they were both let off. They didn't serve a single day in jail. They all their friends were on camera saying, "Oh, it was an accident." Like they to this day they maintained it was an accident. It was unfortunate that it happened to those people, and they were like, anyway. It was the birth of the Asian community's sort of resistance. Like that event was sort of like the George Floyd of the 80s for the Asian community. Anyway, that film has kind of fallen out of circulation, and our programmers talked to the filmmakers and were able to secure it to show as part of a Real Asian event, and I was able to bring that to Chorus as well as a bit of a Chorus screening, and that was really helpful, just in sort of showing that this anti-Asian stuff has not just, a lot of people think it just happened because of the pandemic. It's been around forever. This happened in the 80s. And then we had another event where it was just talking about media representation of Asians and how that should change, since we are a media company. And we actually had some people from Global News, the head of the newsroom and the lead, and they were both Asian. And one of the interesting things they said is, like, they report a lot of stories that, if you talk to a journalist about, you have to make sure that it's fair. A journalist will just say, well, we just report the facts. We're not trying to shape people's opinions, it's just the facts. But that's not really true. And they're saying, like, one of the things that they report on is like real estate stories and casino money laundering. And both of those stories end up putting the Asian community in a bad light, because the Asian market, the story thrust is always foreign investors are driving prices up and pricing locals out of the market. And it always ends up being the Chinese people that are buying it from China. And the casinos is about Asian gangs. And, that type of news being fed to you from news outlets that people just take as gospel, it's just going to make people angry at Asians. And like, there was some recognition that, even on a news angle, like the content has to be, when you do expert talking heads, they're always white males. Like, it just reinforces that white males are the only people that know anything, right? So there's some, thinking about, we have to change that, and they're totally already trying to change things. So it was very helpful. The company's very open, and I think this is sort of the kind of conversations that we need to be having. So yeah, so that's something that I'm doing at work, which I find really rewarding, and out to sort of complement my actual work. And then outside of work, I've been attached. I'm producing a film, and it's called The Banquet, and the writer-director is Gloria Kim. She is Asian Canadian writer-director, and she did a movie last year called Queen of the Morning Calm, which did quite well, reviews, did festivals. This is her second feature. I'm doing it with a friend of mine who produced that first film, which I was supposed to be involved in, but I ended up bowing out because of circumstances. But this one is about it's about a Asian woman who is successful in her career but not really happy in life, and sort of estranged from her mom, and they end up sort of bonding with the mother, teaching her some traditional Korean recipes, so that they can have this traditional Korean feast, and then they sort of bond. So it's kind of one of those drama food movies where you're salivating, and it's very culturally specific. She's been telling us about all these Korean dishes that I'm desperate to try now. So we've got development funding from quite a few of the sources. We just got accepted to the CFC Netflix Accelerator. So
Program?
Yeah, pardon me?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I just got accepted. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, that's sort of in the works. I mean, it's always a long process in development. We have like we have a script. We're working on it. So look out for that. I mean, it will be another year or two, but hopefully we can go to camera next year.
Quickly, though, I feel like we can't let you go without talking about Gaijin.
Oh yeah. Okay. So over here, you can see that's the poster for this movie. It's a short film I made, I guess 2013, like a few years ago, with Bravo Fact funding. Unfortunately, that program is no longer around, but it was I was able to write and direct a film about a gay Asian male dealing with racism in the gay dating community, but not only just imposed on him, but that he realizes has been internalized in himself. But it's a comedy; it's not.
Well, this
super
is the
serious.
fun thing about it. And I remember when you were doing the film, like the queer film festival circuit with it, everyone was like, it was like, there's so many of these movies that are really like dark, content warning, heavy trauma. And yours is like this fun, light, rocky rom-com.
Well, that's what I like to watch. So yeah, thanks. But I feel like it still got its point across, kind of thing. Because dating.
You took a different tone.
Yeah.
Which is a nice tone, because most queer films do tend up being a darker. Yeah, as Nadia said.
Yeah, it's true. And I had some thoughts that maybe I could turn into a web series or something, and maybe that'll happen down the road. I wrote some script. I mean, that film was really about actual things that happened to me in like my 20s, and I feel like kind of apart from them now. Like I at the time I'd written some scripts of other things that happened, which I think are really funny. But I feel like, you always kind of want to write what you know, and now I feel like I know other things. And also the dating world has changed so much, and I think it's going to be dated, my dating experiences, because like everything is different now. But yeah, that was very fun. I feel like now is a good time to mention that Austin and Tommy's wedding vows were Sex and the City themed.
I was there. I remember that.
Yes. It was actually, yeah. Well, it wasn't our vows per se. It was our the ceremony was completely about Sex and the City.
Well,
Like
there's this whole thing about like, and then there was this whole encomium or whatever about each of the characters and how they reflected different aspects of your relationship.
Yeah, it was well done. I mean, it wasn't us that wrote it. It was our pastor, not like our officiant. That's the word I'm hunting for. He did a really good job. It was about Sex and the City. I mean, it was a very gay wedding, but it was fun.
As it should be.
Yeah. A lot of dancing.
I'm curious, what's Jared doing?
I will show you in a second.
I'm so curious. There's so much activity.
Can you point the camera down?
Are those nasturtiums?
I was about to say the same thing.
Yes.
They are.
He's on a nasturtium kick this week.
Well, I mean, they're blooming. You got to do something with them.
There you go.
Can I go back a bit? Austin, I have a quick question.
Oh my god, it's done.
He quietly finished it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We were... Yes, photograph that shit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Instagram.
Does this show have an Instagram account? And if not, why not?
Yeah,
Jared
exactly.
has it.
We need to see it again after you're finished with your.
Yeah. And we need to rate its kinkiness in appearance.
Out of 10?
I would not show this to my child.
There would definitely have to be some explanation too.
This does not belong at Pride. Too much squid ink.
What is this? Is this cheese?
This is
Butter?
cheese.
Oh, it's cheese. Oh my god, I love cheese.
This is it is Parmesan.
Cheese, the kinkiest of milk products.
Yes, indeed.
Money
Yeah.
shot.
I feel like people throw that around a lot now without forgetting its origins.
Oh,
Oh.
money shot. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, what, cheese? What?
Yeah. So
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, that looks so good.
Yes.
Yay.
the color on my camera is a little off, so it's not as vibrant.
It looks very
That's
good.
why God gave us filters.
Are you going to eat it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Wait,
it.
tell us all about
We're
it.
in Seattle, so we could share.
Okay.
but
Let's just see.
Can't believe those noodles came from nothing.
I
Yeah.
know.
Oh my god.
They're much thicker than they should be, but you know.
Oh,
This
You know,
means they'll be
some people like girth.
yes.
Some people like it thick.
no one approve.
I want noodles now.
So, how's
How
the
is it?
flavor? What do you?
How's
what do
how's the
what do you
mouth
think?
feel?
Let the man taste.
Got to get a clam because that's where it
Good
is.
clam.
You got to pull them out of the shell.
Mm.
Big noodles.
Thick mood.
So,
It's really good.
Oh,
It's not as so. There was an entire Fresno chili that went in here,
yeah.
Mm.
and it's not spicy at all.
Huh.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know what's
Maybe
up with that.
Maybe it's lurking somewhere in
Yeah,
in
just
bowl
a
again.
pocket
Well-
of intense heat.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm okay with those like milder chilies because sometimes you either have one that's gonna kill you or one that's
Yeah.
like nothing.
you don't want it to overpower every other flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
Jared,
seriously, how is the mouth feel? Because like when it's like made noodles, is it?
They're a little chewy. I should have rolled
Okay.
them a little thinner than they are. But it's good. It's sort of salty and savory, and there's a lot of fennel in here, so it's
Oh, fennel.
Right.
sweet.
Nice. Huh.
Speaking of which, yeah, for the audience, tell us. Can you go through the ingredient list
Yeah.
and like
yeah.
exactly what you put into it? There was something green on top. I want to know what that was.
Yeah, good question.
We need details.
It's a nasturtium
Oh,
leaf.
Nasturtiums.
Bloom.
Okay.
So pasta is obviously just flour, eggs, and water. The actual sauce is clams, Italian sausage, a Fresno chili, garlic, onion, cherry tomatoes,
Hmm.
salt, pepper, thyme,
Olive oil?
And fennel. Yeah, olive oil just to like, you know.
And like fennel or fennel seed. What
Yeah.
are we using?
Fennel seeds.
Okay.
Wow,
Round or
specific
whole?
question, Wesley. I didn't know.
Round seeds or whole seeds?
I'm sorry, they have different flavors.
Yeah, they do.
All seeds.
Yeah, they do.
And
They're very
yeah,
different. Fresh
Yeah.
fennel is quite nice. In
So
some dishes.
the sauce itself, it becomes liquidy just because of the olive oil, or just because the tomatoes degrade? Like because you didn't put milk or anything in it.
Yeah.
It's just,
yes, I do.
The tomatoes contribute a bunch of liquid. The clams do as they open.
Right.
And then, of course, there's some from the onion and
Right.
there's some wine in here as well. I forgot that.
Nice.
Okay.
White wine? What kind of wine?
It's supposed to be white wine, but I didn't realize that I didn't have any white wine, so I just used a light rosé.
Oh, that's very. That's
That's
rosé
lovely.
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make enough of a difference to me to worry about it, as long as it's not red.
Mm. Hold a forkful up so we can see how. Show us your nudes. There we go.
Oh.
Yes,
It
very
looks
noodly.
good. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
They're
want
quite
it.
dark.
It looks
yeah,
so
they're not
good.
like jet black,
Oh.
but they're quite dark. Yeah.
They're like a dark grayish charcoal black.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And see, when
Yeah.
I was worried that, like, I don't know, it's like that. I don't know about Seattle, but Toronto for the last probably 2 years, since right before the pandemic, has been obsessed with like charcoal ice cream,
Yeah.
charcoal ice cream
Yeah.
cones.
Yeah.
But there's no flavor to it, so it's just
No,
like
no.
it takes great Instagram photos, but that's it.
It can
That's
also
the
fuck up a
point.
lot of medications.
But what
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
point of activated charcoal? Like, I'm
Well,
not
you
like.
can take it if you've
Literally
been
just
poisoned.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
They use it in the emergency room.
Yeah.
if You've swallowed poison.
Uh-huh.
So why
right?
do we eat it casually then?
Because it
Instagram.
looks
You think your
cool.
partner's
Because
poisoning
it looks
you.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks cool. But like, oh, it turns out your antidepressant meds didn't work because
Exactly.
you had charcoal ice cream.
Because you
Well,
had a
it's also-
charcoal ice
A
cream.
lot of people are like influencers or whatever are like, oh, it cleanses your toxins or whatever. So
Oh yeah,
Damn.
hangovers.
It's like, have you been poisoned?
Medical
No?
science.
There you go. Thank you, Anna.
But
I mean,
my
it had
worry
to be.
was when I saw that you had like squid ink, I was like, is this going to be like a flavorless thing, or does it? So it's kind of cool that it has that fishiness to it,
Yeah.
and the clams probably add to that. Like,
Yeah,
fish.
clams are very fishy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, these are I've never had this kind of clam before. They're very, very soft and kind of buttery, actually.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god. Now I'm hungry.
I'm so
Yeah.
hungry.
I love
When is the
clams.
stream over?
Chris has made me far less exciting noodles, and they're waiting upstairs.
Aw.
just
Well,
eat that
that's
box of KD.
Yeah, I totally am making KD for myself later tonight because it came up on this stream. I know now.
We actually have Katie pretty regularly. It's one of the things Maddie likes.
Oh, I loved it when I was a
think when
kid.
you were a kid.
I like. Do you know
Total
what's funny?
comfort food.
So I never had it because when I was growing up, we had like my family just made mac and cheese from scratch, and so my parents
Right.
never wanted to have Kraft Dinner. But I was very envious of it, so I would only get it when I would visit friends of mine. Like we'd go to their house, and I'd have Kraft Dinner at one of my friends' houses. And so then when I was in high school, I remember talking about, oh my God, I never had Kraft Dinner. So somebody threw a Kraft Dinner party where they made a huge vat. It was like a backyard party with a
Yeah.
huge vat of Kraft Dinner. And
Oh
I
my
Love
God.
it.
it was amazing. Everybody could just have bowls and bowls of it. And I've actually liked it ever since because it just
Yeah.
makes, it doesn't even taste as good anymore. Like I actually prefer the white cheddar President's Choice. It
Yeah.
tastes much better, but
This isn't even the first time the boxed KD has come up. The boxed mac and cheese has come up in this stream. It's people like.
Well, it's a Canada heavy stream.
Yeah.
they don't have it
Oh
in
my
the States?
They do, but it's
They do,
I
but
think
they
it's
don't
less
call
of
it
a
KD.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
like KD is. Oh, sorry, Mike.
No, I think we were gonna say something similar, which is like it's like the levels at which it's consumed are very high in Canada. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
weird staple of every household.
Mhm.
It's weird that like we talked about the nostalgia of music earlier, and now we're talking about like food nostalgia too. Just
Yeah.
like how KD is like so ingrained into our like young childhood, youngerhood lives. And food could be that
Comfort food even
too.
as an adult.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like pasta in general is like, no matter who you are, pasta in some way, shape, or form is like definitely a staple throughout your life.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My kids, who like I said before, are 24 and 17, they think Kraft Dinner is disgusting. And they're why did you eat that over-processed garbage? And I said, it was the 70s. That's all we had.
So something similar to Austin's big KD party. When I was 20, I did a semester in England with a bunch of kids from Newfoundland. Like, we went there. They had a field school, so it was like 25 like Newfoundlanders were the age of like 18 and 22 who had like never been off the island before. So we all bought a box of Kraft Dinner or two in our luggage. And there was one woman from Australia who happened to be like renting a room in the little complex we all lived in. And we became friends with her. And then one day we had like a massive Kraft Dinner party where we made a giant vat of it. And she was appalled. She was like, it smells disgusting. I was like, well, I guess if you didn't grow up with it.
You'd be like, why would you eat that?
Yep.
The color does not look like an appealing color, like unless you're used to it.
The color is not found in nature. Yeah.
No, it's like sweet and sour sauce, right? Like if you like it, then you'll eat. But if you aren't familiar, it doesn't look like something you would willingly put in your mouth.
Right. Yeah.
I think we have an argument to her.
That is a very fair point.
So once again, I don't know, Jared has dematerialized, but I'm sure he can still hear us. We have this is wrapped up neatly with the food appearing right. Oh my god!
Oh,
It's so warm in here.
Outfit change, costume change.
I love the shirt.
We love it.
It's great.
We love to see it.
Special bonus episode for patrons only, where I actually like
getting squiddy with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Eating sausages and clams.
Mm-hmm.
In a tank top.
That's how I do.
Once again, we're wrapping up with Jared eating the fruits of his labor right at 6:00 p.m. here in Toronto. So I guess 3:00 p.m.
He knows this audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are and yes, and enjoying Jared in a scanty outfit befitting. How hot is it now, Jared? Is it like, has it actually gotten super warm?
Oh yeah, but it doesn't help that I had a pot of noodles boiling.
No, you're cooking. Yeah.
You had your oven on too.
Oh god, it's 97 now.
Wow, that is hot.
That is not acceptable.
Well, you know what? On theme, I am being called for dinner, so
yes, there we go.
I might actually have to leave. But thank you so much for having me. This was super fun.
Up.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thanks, Jared, for inviting us to your kitchen.
Yeah.
Glad to have everybody.
Good to meet you, Wesley and Rebecca. Hopefully, we can see each other again.
And maybe
Mike and Nadia.
Like,
Yeah.
We knew each other already, to be clear.
Yeah.
Not nice to meet you, Michael.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not happy to meet. I already know Mike. I already know Nadia. Happy to continue to know you.
Yes.
Have a good dinner.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We can remove you from the stream. There we go. Okay. So yeah. So we're wrapping up. If we got any like closing thoughts, ruminations on this.
I love squidding pasta, and I really want it now.
Yeah.
I'd pay top dollar for that to be delivered to me right now. So, yeah, no, it looks amazing. Thank you, Jared, for making that. Rebecca and Jared, we didn't hear what is happening in your lives lately and what you've been working on, though, or doing. Do you want to share?
Weirdly, in real life, I'm a social worker. So what I'm doing right now is we're doing I work in mental health boarding homes. And so we bring vaccines. We've been bringing vaccines to the houses and vaccinating everybody. So right now we're doing second doses. And so we've been coordinating, getting everybody's health card, everybody's health information, consent, bringing the teams in from the different hospitals. We vaccinate everybody. We monitor everybody. And now we're doing our second doses. So it's been a really, really busy time, but exciting because the past year, because our folks live in congregate settings, they live sharing bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens. So it's been a scary 15, 16 months. And so it's really exciting to be getting people second doses. And so that's pretty much what I'm working on is vaccinating folks who have mental health diagnoses.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's really, really great work.
You sorry, it looked like you froze for a minute there, but I think
sorry.
What was I going to ask you now? I'm sorry. It's getting really hot in here as well.
Here, Nadia.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh my gosh! Are you going to hang out tomorrow? If there's, I guess the flash mob Dyke March was today. Is there anything tomorrow that you're gonna?
Well, I actually think I'm going to head down to church. I'm going to head down to Church Street now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got my phone's blowing up, so I think I'm going to head down and see what's happening.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then tomorrow, Pride picnic. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh! Where's the picnic?
It's at Riverdale Park.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Is that like anyone in Toronto, or is it just like a people that you know?
It's like a group of friends.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure there'll be lots. I'm sure that there'll be lots of people because Riverdale Park generally has a fair number of people hanging out. So.
Yeah. It's a great park.
And I feel like Hanlon's point will be if it's nice tomorrow or next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like queer happenings will happen no matter what.
Yep.
We will persist. We will. So I feel like over the next week or so, there will be many a picnic and many outside safe distance gathering. Definitely coming forth. Question though, since it's a cooking show, what are you having at the picnic?
Oh,
or what are you bringing?
I'm making it's a bocconcini, cherry tomato basil salad, which I'm going to put in the fridge tonight so it's super cold, and then hope that it stays cold depending on how wickedly hot it is out there tomorrow.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, it's supposed to be the forecast keeps changing, but the last one that I saw, it was supposed to be actually like 27 and nice, which is low 80s for you.
Well, it was supposed to pour rain all day today, and look, like it's been not bad for the past 3 hours. So that's why we're gonna try to do what we can do in the next 6 hours.
Nice. Oh my gosh. And yeah, as Wesley asked, Jared, do you want to talk about any projects or anything that you've got? Look at this nasturtium.
He's just eating flowers now.
Nasturtiums, yeah. Other than being
how
a
extra.
Flower eater.
What am I doing right now? I mean, podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually recording tomorrow on the hottest day Seattle has seen in, I don't know, since the formation of the Earth.
All three of you are West Coasters, so you're all going to be suffering.
Well, no.
Nope.
It's the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, so LA is not having a heat wave.
We are cooler than LA right now, I believe.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
But don't quote me on that.
Oh, you mean hotter? Hotter than
Hotter?
LA.
I do mean hotter. The heat is frying my brain. I couldn't even really sleep last night because I was so warm.
It's awful, man.
Yeah.
I didn't have an air conditioner my first summer in Ontario, and like it didn't get as hot as it is in Seattle, and very difficult to sleep.
Yeah, what that was.
Oh
what
my
is that
gosh.
doing?
Your podcast is By the Bywater. It's about Tolkien.
Yes, thank you. It is a Tolkien podcast called By the Bywater.
I'm not even a particular fan of Tolkien. I like him okay, but I enjoy every new episode. So
So it's all about Lord of the Rings?
and
yeah, like Tolkien in general. We're not like reading. Yeah, like his work. What have we talked about? We go more like topic rather than like reading through the books or whatever. So we've talked about like Éowyn as a character, but also we had an episode about imperialism in the work, or like the role friendship plays in it, all that kind of thing. And the one we're talking about tomorrow is the story of the children of Húrin, which is one for the nerds out there. So yeah, we're doing that. as for what else I've got going on, I don't know. Just finished a novel. That's fun.
Yes, it's amazing.
Do you want to talk about that? Tell us it.
Do I want to talk about it? I can never. The second somebody asks me, I can never remember what it's actually about.
I read
Nadia,
it,
help.
I
What's
read
it
it, and
about?
I will talk about it if you want me to.
Those of us in a cooler city have to give Jared the prompts.
it got really
Well, he's
hot
got
here.
two things, right? He's full of carbs now, and he's boiling hot.
Yeah.
Full of carbs, and there was a lot of fat in here. There was a lot of butter. There was all the sausage. I'm just like, I'm weighed down. It's the Gormenghast series crossed with Hieronymus Bosch is how I like to describe it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so people in a vast crumbling edifice trying to stave off an existential threat.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very. I read it, and like about 50 pages in, basically, my brain left my body and started floating around the room, and I just have not been the same since. It's it's hallucinogenic. This novel. It's
Okay.
Incredible.
Anyway.
You wrote a novel.
Jared needs an agent. If anyone is watching and
I'm
needs
like,
an agent.
You didn't even be like, I am writing. Look at me writing.
I did on Twitter.
I never see those tweets. I see your art all the time, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
I posted art of it.
What the fuck? What's wrong with me?
No.
I'm gonna blame the algorithm. I'm not a bad person. It's the algorithm's fault.
It's very you wouldn't know if you did not know about the novel. You wouldn't know what the art was about, and then once you know about the novel, you go back and look at the art. It's like, oh, holy shit! It was all there. It was like I just had to decode it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Well,
did you see? Where's my camera? This is.
I feel like I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know it's not really focused.
Wow.
I'm on your account on the media tab now.
Yay!
So Jared, you need more self-promotion.
Yes.
Look, literally every time I put up a new chapter on Patreon, there was a tweet about in this chapter.
Okay.
Well, this is my problem. I need to support you on Patreon. The God of the Forest. Is this from your book?
That is not it. These were
Okay.
this is back. This is literally a year ago.
Oh hell. Okay, I'm not doing this right now then.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
it's
scrolling
a
back that
while
far.
back.
I'll do that at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep. Hey.
Okay, so listen,
Same.
I'm pleased that we're finally talking about Jared's novel. We are at 6:11, so I think we're going to wrap up the broadcast part of this. You on the screen right now don't have to leave. I'm just going to end the broadcast so you can stick around if you want to, or you can leave. I leave it to you and your agency, your desires. But for the folks at home watching,
This
yes,
is important. Okay, you do it, Nadia.
Like, yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Let us
Agreed.
give you money.
Okay, before we go, Jared is going to give us a Patreon link. Yes, it's so you can currently read his novel on his Patreon, but also he needs an agent and a publisher. I'm just putting that out there to the universe and to.
And he's a great cook chef.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he can cook. So.
He's the whole package.
And before we go, we should say Happy Pride to everybody, wherever
Yeah,
they are.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Wait, let me get.
Happy Pride.
I have a broken arm, but I'm gonna roll over. And
Oh, hell.
I'm fine.
Oh, you've got the flag.
I brought the flag. Well, no, it's always in one of our plants, so I just
well, that's
took it
the
from the
Patreon
soil.
link, but it's not very. We'll
Oh, yeah,
have
paste
the
it
show
to,
link.
like-
Yeah, but drop a link for the network that helped bring us this fine chat. All right, hang on.
Now that we know, we're going to force Jared to self-promote more.
Yes. Yay!
on every episode.
Yeah.
The Megaphonic Network
that
is
works
where you
better.
can find more of these, more podcasts by people on this stream right now, and more, and on Twitch more streams. If you like crosswords, boy, do we have streams for you on the Megaphonic Twitch. Anyway, so yes, okay. Wrapping things up for the folks at home. Thank you so much for joining us and watching Jared make pasta and just like enjoying.
Oi!
Boy!
And hope to see you again next time. Don't know yet what that's going to entail in terms of cooking, but it will be a delicious surprise as always. And happy Pride, everyone, wherever you may be. Yes, Wesley has a flag. Excellent. Bye.
Happy Pride.
Bye, Anna Wimble.
Bye.
Bye.
Ah.
Oh.